Are you dealing with a personal injury? Don't go it alone. Turn to the experienced team at Phillips Law Firm. Their attorneys have helped thousands of clients get the compensation they deserve. Call Phillips Law Firm now. Call 1-800-JUSTICE or visit justiceforyou.com.
Hey there, everybody. I'm Melvin Robert from the TV show Extra. Every day on our show, we talk to the biggest celebrities and the biggest newsmakers around. We get exclusive details about hookups and breakups, baby news, and the behind-the-scenes info from your favorite TV shows and movies. But we can only fit so much on our show. That's where Extra the Podcast comes in. Listen and follow Extra the Podcast and Odyssey Podcast on the Odyssey app or wherever you get your podcast.
What's up? It's your boy, The Ted Smith from The Men's Room. And did you know I have a podcast? Well, I do. The Podcast. New episodes uploaded every Wednesday on the Odyssey app.
Unfortunately, what you're about to hear is real. The members of this radio program are simply not that bright, or what some people would call educated. They are merely stupid. They're not trying to offend anyone on purpose. And all have played doctors on TV. You have been warned and are cordially invited to join the party. This is the Men's Room.
Forget it, man, and get with the countdown. Get with the countdown. Shake this square world and blast off for Kicksville. The trippers, the grasshoppers, the hip ones, all gathered in secrecy and flying high as a kite.
This is the Men's Room with Miles and Thrill. You know what they say, shake your radio more than 3 times, and you're playing with it. You're listening to the Men's Room.
And away we go. Welcome to Season 18, episode number 3953. Along with Steve the Throw Hill, the Ted Smith, and my car. And you, are the Men's Room. On tap today, the return of Who Sucks Less. We will play Profile This, plus headlines, a Men's Room shot of the day, fun with listener emails, and everyone's favorite, TV Time with Ted.
Click, clack. Drink it to drunk.
All right, here we go. Utah mom gets called to jury duty, which then turns into a daycare center. Meanwhile, a woman hasn't had her period in 10 years, as her bajingo, her boyfriend, likes to enter. California confiscates 2,000 bottles of wine that were aged at sea. A Florida woman who murdered her boyfriend uses Mountain Dew to try to be free. And a new dad picks up a new job at a Thai restaurant, unbeknownst to him. But it's all coming on today's very special episode of The Men's Room.
And now, here's the question.
Hola, bitches. Good day to you and yours. All right, everyone has a food that no one else in the house likes. Like when I was young, it was sardines. My father liked sardines. No one else did, but it was perfectly fine because no one else was forced to eat sardines. He would eat them himself. But that's not always the case. Earlier this week, we heard the story of a father who would take liver, put liver in a blender, and then dump the contents into a hot pan and make liver pancakes. Side note, that was the first time we'd ever heard of liver pancakes. Anyway, the problem was that these liver pancakes, they were family dinner. They weren't just for him. If you lived in the house, you too had to eat liver pancakes. And that became the inspiration for our random question on Monday, which was, what food traumatized you as a kid? Now, the caller we talked to, his answer was waffles and pancakes. Not liver pancakes, just pancakes. Pancakes and waffles. And as uninspiring as his answer was, we've been inundated with texts and emails from everyone else reliving those mortifying meals that our parents, grandparents, and babysitters made us eat. So today we figured, man, let's just put it out there and get it done and make it our question of the day. So today's question, quite simply, is, what meal traumatized you as a kid?
To be a part of the big show, call 206-803-ROCK. Like the Men's Room on Facebook, follow us on Twitter and Instagram at Men's Room Live, and send your emails to the Men's Room at KISW.com.
Room with Miles and Thrill, 99.9 KISW.
Oh, but y'all, is away we go.
Oh, yeah?
Welcome to Season 18, episode number 3953. What a large and in-charge program we have for you today on this beautiful Wednesday. Not Thursday, guys. Wednesday.
It is Wednesday.
It is Wednesday. You know what we do on Wednesday, Ted? Who sucks less?
We do.
Yeah, Steve the Thrill Hill, you bring us 3 stories each and every week from the news. They all suck to some degree. I don't know how you find bad people doing bad things, but you do.
It's a tough thing to do. Most of the news is just glorious stuff.
Really
People
is.
saving puppies. Ted actually brought me one of these 3 stories.
Oh, so you already know.
You know, one of them.
I saw the one on Monday. I was like, we got to use it.
Okay. And as soon as I saw it, I'm like, you are correct, sir.
All right.
So we will be using that one. You know, they're all kind of bad, but also it's a lesson for everyone to learn. One, it's very important that you make sure you go to the right address. Mm-hmm. Super important. If you're going to sign something, make sure you read the fine print.
Okay.
It might come back to it. And when you're with your coworkers, make sure your communication is clear so that no one gets hurt. Maybe that's the best way to put it, yes.
Okay. And as we do every Monday through Friday, of course, you get more Men's Room with the Men's Room Happy Hour exclusively on Odyssey and the Odyssey app. If you don't have the Odyssey app, download it now. It's absolutely free. Search for the Men's Room page. You're going to find all things Men's Room on there, including the Men's Room radio channel, where we get a chance to pick our own music and put together basically a format that has every single genre of music that you can imagine on there, because we got a chance to pick our favorites. Also some yacht rock. We have some classic crooners, some reggae, some metal, some rock, some country, you name it. It's just about everything.
Rap, EDM,
pop. I mean, you name it. Everything from boys to men to hell, I don't know. God Almighty, Thin Lizzy. It's it's just about everything.
You got Frank Sinatra, you got Clutch. I mean, it's all there. The only thing we don't have is opera and classical.
It mixes pretty well. I'll tell you what I'll do. The next
There's even
time,
a little jazz on that.
We got a chance to pick 50 songs. The next time they give us a list, we can pick 25. I'll put some opera on there.
Don't.
Just why not? Just 1 or 2.
Because it's terrible. That's why.
Green Beans is on there from the Hungry Food Band.
But at least that's funny.
If you're a big fan of Green Beans, we feature.
You can put Pagliacci on there.
How does that one go? Like, do we know it? I mean,
if you heard it, you know.
I want a large pepperoni.
Because it's that clown. You've seen him over and over. It's it's one of the most famous operas in the world.
Mike, can you pull up Pagliacci? I'm sure I know it.
Yeah. And
I'm not tracking with this one, man.
Yeah.
I'm sure I know. What I'm saying, Ted, in a roundabout way, is that you're doing a terrible job. I'm sure I would recognize it.
I feel like that was pretty good.
You got the hand motions. You do.
All of our
and the body type.
All of our podcasts are on the Men's Room page as well on the Odyssey app. Brand new The Podcast is out. Is that correct? Am I understanding?
It is. Went a little long last night. The boys were feeling it.
All right, getting fired up. Okay, cool.
Correct.
All of our daily podcasts there as well. Of course, you can listen to KISW anywhere in the United States when you're driving. As we say all the time, some people move in and out of town. They say, man, I miss your radio station. Download the Odyssey app. You can listen to us driving all the way across the country. Catch up on the past episodes of our program as well. There's a greatest hits, basically, podcast where you get the best of our week for about 45 minutes and catch up if you're limited on time. But either way, we'll see you coming up for the Men's Room Happy Hour in episode number 447. Not sure exactly what is going to happen today, as our company, Odyssey, which is the proud owner of the Odyssey app, they're having a little shindig in here, a little party.
Yeah.
So we've got a bunch of very important people. I'll tell you how important these people are. They are so important that they came up here, and for the last 3 days, they've been cleaning our office.
Yeah, seriously.
I've never seen anything like it. For what we understand, this is so important that actual staff members from our company are going to show up in the office.
It is unbelievable. This is unprecedented.
We're going to see people we haven't seen in years. So it's going to be good. I don't know if we're going to bring people in for interviews. I'm not sure exactly what we're going to do. I definitely know if they start serving drinks or anything like that. I'm going to grab a couple of those.
Get loose.
Yeah.
There's no doubt about that. So we're going to have a little party in here.
Serve drinks before. Is this Pagliacci?
This is the... Oh, no.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, Ted, you weren't close.
This is what happens when you get put on hold at Pagliacci's. And they say, like, this month's special, the Walla Walla onion.
I'm pretty sure, like, his wife, somebody slept with his wife, so then he's the sad clown, but he has to go kill that dude.
Or maybe don't be a clown.
Maybe he killed the wife.
Your favorite pizza is named after a clown?
Yeah. Well, an opera, yes.
An opera
about a clown.
I think a lot of people right now are just realizing
that you hate clowns.
Is it about a clown, or does he just happen to be a clown?
He's like the most famous clown in the all white, the red cheeks, and the little top hat.
I think Pennywise. I'm going to argue Pennywise.
I mean, I don't like clowns, but opera's different.
How long is this song, Mike?
This guy is 4 minutes.
4?
Oh, we can put that on.
We can put that on there.
People know this. They can sing along.
Sing it in the car with the windows down.
Sure, why not?
Oh,
Pagliacci tells the story of an acting troupe led by a jealous man who was ultimately driven to murder his actress wife and her lover.
Is he jealous because she's swapping spit with the dude? Like, to me, jealous is, I saw you talking to a guy. You go, dude, relax. Jealous is not, my wife's getting plowed by another guy. Like, okay, I understand why you're angry.
I wonder if they're all in the troupe.
I don't know.
Like, he's like the clown of the acting troupe, and then, like, his wife is there as well as her lover, and they're all just...
I want to know what her lover does. Like, what's his gig? Because no offense, if you're a clown, I expect your wife's going to cheat on you.
That's right.
You're a clown.
Right. Wait, Steve, how many weeks till your kids go back to school?
I don't know.
They go
weeks? Back either September 6th or 7th.
All right. Okay. So there's a few weeks left before the kids go back to school, and we're doing Kicks for Kids with our friends at Mary's Place. Here's the idea. Mary's Place, they do an unbelievable job. They've got over 400 kids that they shelter who need your help. So as the kids get ready to get back to school, that's what Kicks for Kids is all about. So do us a favor, if you can, sometime during the show, head to KISW.com. You'll see the Kicks for Kids link. Click on that. A little bit more of an explanation about what Mary's Place does. The idea being that the kids are going back to school. They need a new pair of shoes to feel confident, to feel good about themselves. And the idea is if we raise $20,000, all of those children will be able to go to school with a new pair of shoes. $50 buys a pair of sneakers for the kids. $100 buys a pair of sneakers for the teenagers. And keep in mind, they get to pick out their own brand and their own style. So that goes a long way, too. So if you can head to KISW.com, hook us up, man. Give what you can. If you can only give $10, $15, that is perfectly fine. If you can give $100, we really appreciate that. But either way, you're doing a great job. Back to school is coming, which seems crazy because it feels like we're just kind of getting into summer now.
Yeah.
And kids are going back to school, but either way, Mary's Place and...
I mean, it is tough because our summer starts so late.
I know, the kids are already going back. I actually thought to myself this morning, I'm just like, man, I wish the kids were, like, off during the winter, right? Because they always want to go somewhere on vacation. And I'm like, well, I love it here during the summer, right? We have the best summers in the U.S., but... when it's all gloomy and crap, like, that's when I wish you were out of school. Let's go somewhere.
Yeah, if you want to do like Zoom calls and homeschool, let's do it from Phoenix in December or something like that. Let's get the hell out of here for a while.
I mean, you're right. And then it's tough because a lot of people and kids get off around Christmas.
Correct.
But then everybody goes.
Everybody's off.
Mm-hmm. Like, I mean, I've been to Disney World on July 4th, and one of the workers told me the only thing worse than this
is Christmas.
It's Christmas.
It's Christmas and Disney.
By the way, Ted, some people wanted to point out a few things. First of all, you said Pagliacci, probably the world's most famous clown. I went with Pennywise, but this guy, he points out the obvious. The king of the clowns. Ronald McDonald, bro.
Oh.
Ronald frickin' McDonald. The other thing they point out is that apparently in the actual opera, when he's singing that song, it says everyone is dying when this music is playing.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's a fact.
Man, oh man.
Right. Okay.
It's intense.
Okay.
I mean, hey.
Yeah, we have some popular recipes. Let's start here real quick. I'll give you a few. And I know that, Steve, you're the only person here who lived through the 60s or was a part of it, but let me know if
For 9 months, man.
You were
9 months.
Hey, I didn't birth you. I mean, hell, that's not on me. That's on you. You were born in the 60s.
I was born in 69.
Were you alive for the moon landing?
I was. My mother says that I was drooling on her breast when they were watching it on TV.
One small step for Steve.
Yeah. She said you kind of saw it. You were awake. Okay. You were there.
Throw catching strays.
These are some of the well, he's a 60. I mean,
I hear you, Miles.
These are the most popular
Bro,
meals
what that
of the 60s.
phrase means to us younger people.
Right. Yes, exactly. Ironically, 69.
69.
69.
And I want to point out, years ago, sitting at a Chinese restaurant with my parents, and on the placemat, whatever you call it, they had, they have all the different years that correlate with different animals. So not only was I born in 1969, but according to this menu, I was born in the year of the cock.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
And my mother's response, that explains so much.
It does.
I'll always remember that. Thank you.
Okay. Now I'm going to give you guys some foods from the 60s. Tell me if you've ever tasted these or have any idea what they are.
These are like the popular dishes.
These were some of the bigger ones in the 60s. Ambrosia.
Yes.
Oh, my mother used to make it all the time.
How did she make it?
I know it's green and it's got like marshmallows.
Marshmallows, pretzels, Jell-O.
Walnuts.
Oh, God.
It's not as bad as it sounds, but it's not as good as you would like.
All I know is she was so famous for it. Like other women would request that she brought that over.
Really?
Yeah.
You think the band Ambrosia named themselves after?
I was going to say, is that really where they got their name?
Isn't Ambrosia?
Ambrosia? Is it something else other than this crap? Listen,
would you name your band after that?
No. I'd almost rather name it liver and onions.
Yeah. It's an American dessert with cream, sour cream, marshmallows, orange, pineapple, coconut, pecans, and cherries.
Now, put in Ambrosia Band.
The band, right.
Yeah,
I'm trying to see where they
what was
got
their
their name.
biggest part? What was their big hit there? Biggest part?
You put it on it's on the men's
Part of
radio.
me, how much I feel.
How much I feel.
Yeah, you picked them and put them on the men's
And
radio.
that's all because of this terrible dessert?
You're the only woman.
Oh, you're the only woman.
Yeah.
That I
Holding on to yesterday.
They got hits.
Look out.
They are much better than the dessert.
Miles, I apologize. I misspoke. My mother made Watergate salad.
Watergate salad in Washington, D.C.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Glad they don't update the dessert list based on what's happening now.
Right.
Ambrosia is a type of fruit salad that originated in the southern United States. Most ambrosia recipes include oranges, pineapple.
Yep.
So far, so good. Coconut and marshmallows. Some ambrosia salads include gelatin and whipped cream.
Yeah.
Topped with maraschino cherries. Okay, we move on. These are the 60s again. Beef bourguignon. Do we know what this is? This is a classic Julia Child signature dish. Or is it bourguignon?
Beef bourguignon. What is it? What's
It was and is slow-cooked beef in red wine with vegetables such as carrots and onions, often served with crusty bread and butter. Now that
it's not good. I do remember that, and it sucks.
why? Like a roasted
because beef.
Balsamic vinegar is pretty good.
No, beef just means it's from a cow. You notice they don't have a specific cut of meat. So basically, when your mom pulled out the meat tenderizer, a big iron hammer, and just beat the living hell out of this tough ass shoe that you bought for cheap at the grocery store. That's why it was slow cooked. Right? Just to tenderize the thing, but it was crap. It was bad.
How about beef stroganoff then?
Yeah.
Beef stroganoff? Nothing wrong with beef stroganoff. The only thing about that is it's kind of more of on that fettuccine tip for me. It's not the same kind of gravy, but it's hearty.
Yes.
You can only eat so much of it.
I just don't like the mushrooms.
That's
Right, which is a problem.
It is
right.
beef, sour cream, and mushrooms, often served over egg noodles, which, man, I'll tell you what, that is one of the unsung heroes of dinner sometimes for me.
Egg noodles?
Just some egg noodles.
Sure.
On the side with butter.
I agree.
They kind of go with anything.
You actually enjoyed beef stroganoff? I hated that crap, too.
I would not think that that's the worst.
It's not the worst.
Strips of beef. But again, it's strips of beef. So
Again, beef. It's from a cow.
I would also say that I think the beef stroganoff we had the most was probably Hamburger Helper.
You're
Okay,
right.
all right.
You know what? You're 100%
And you know what? There's nothing wrong with hamburger.
right.
So that version, everybody
Now,
likes.
I do recall this. This was one of those culinary things that you just saw growing up that you don't see that much now, and you don't find it in the pantry anymore. But the quality of meat that was typically bought in our home, if it was not hamburger, if it was some type of beef, the quality of it was complete garbage.
Yeah.
It was some type of either like tube steak or either way, you knew it was beef night because you had a meat tenderizer, which is just a big mallet, and then there's a seasoning called meat tenderizer.
Right.
And they would spread it all over the meat, and then they beat the living hell out of it in the kitchen.
Oh, we always do.
Just to try to tenderize the meat, because the meat was so
that you
horrible.
could chew it.
So you could try to chew it. It was absolutely... pork chops very popular in the 60s. So was fried chicken.
Pork chops are super popular.
It depends who makes them.
It does, and it depends on how thin they are, and did you dry them out in the oven? So like shake and bake.
That's exactly how we had them all the time.
Shake and bake, there's nothing wrong with that.
I
Oven
like shake and
fried,
bake.
I like oven fried better. I just think it's a better coating, but shake and bake's pretty top notch.
Shake and bake in my family, I just knew it made whatever my mother was going to make. If the shake and bake came out, it would make it better.
Yeah.
Whatever it was going to be.
Do you guys know where Swedish meatballs were invented, by the way?
IKEA.
Oh, not too far off.
Finland.
Swedish meatballs.
Sweden.
Turkey. They were invented in Turkey. But they're only really popular in America. Swedish meatballs are cooked in a homemade cream sauce. But the Americanized version began using cream of mushroom soup
Of course, because we use that for to
make it a quicker meal.
How did they become Swedish? Did you just not want to give the Turks credit?
Would you eat turkey balls?
Fair point.
I'm just saying, like, if that's the country, unfortunately.
Turkish meatballs.
Turkish meatballs I'd eat.
Yeah.
I'd still, yeah. Okay. Well, I bet the Swedish would be less hairy. Then you have pot roast. Pot roast was a hearty and comforting meal. I love that. Slow cooked. You can't go wrong when you slow cook beef.
It's because the beef was cracked.
It is. That's the best way to do it, though. Vegetables, carrots, onions, potatoes, often added. I actually I love pot roast, man. That's one of my.
But you're like a pot pie guy and all that kind of
it's
thing.
Pot roast, basically roast beef.
No.
But I'm with Miles. And, like, you grew up Irish Catholic. Like, we had pot roast like, a lot of Sundays.
Mm-hmm. I can believe that.
Tuna casserole. Jesus. Canned tuna, egg noodles, cream of mushrooms.
Friday nights.
Topped with potato chips.
Did you guys do the tuna casserole on
We had
Fridays?
a lot of tuna casserole on Fridays.
Did you just beg for, like, can we just get a filet fish sandwich, please?
Well, you got to remember, Catholics still do that in Lent, but when my parents grew up, you couldn't eat meat on any Friday.
Right.
So for my mother, it was a hard habit for her to break.
Meatloaf was popular in the 60s, as was chicken a la king, which is basically you throw chicken in a pan, and whatever else you have,
He goes in the pan with
that's
it.
the a la king part. Okay. Seriously, it is. A couple from the 70s real quick. Pineapple chicken. Anything with pineapple was fair game in the 70s due to an increased interest in Hawaiian culture. Mm-hmm. So pineapple chicken made with pineapple. Quiche. Jesus.
God,
man.
I got sick of quiche.
God, I hate quiche.
I love quiche.
For breakfast or for dinner?
Oh, for breakfast.
Okay.
No, we had it for dinner. I never had quiche
I haven't.
in the morning until I became an adult. To me, it was an unfortunate food sample that you had at night.
Yeah.
All right. I bet we used to make one with, like, bacon, cheddar, and lox.
Yeah, ours wasn't like that, though. Like, ours was just straight up the egg with some crust, man. Like, can we just have scrambled eggs? Can we just do that?
70s was the invention of the salad bar, which I thought was a nice addition. Although I was not the biggest fan of salad as a child. For some reason, when the salad bar came around, I was more inclined to go over and pick the ham chunks and the cheese.
That's still bacon bits, cheese, and boiled egg.
Put a little bit of lettuce at the bottom, but I've croutons, find the things, bacon bits, find the things that I like, and just kind of not maybe boiled deviled eggs or whatever.
I think that's what all the kids did at, like, the salad bar at Pizza Hut.
Yeah, eggs, bacon.
Ranch.
Yeah. What else took off in the 70s? Crepes. Filled with savory things like ham and cheese more so than fruit or Nutella. Hamburger Helper.
Yeah, man.
Introduced in 1971. Here you go, Ted. Watergate salad.
Oh, there it is.
This is a sweet salad usually made with pudding, Cool Whip, pistachio pudding, and canned pineapple. Now, that actually does not sound too bad.
Up until the pineapple.
Miles, you might like it, but I'm telling you,
I love pudding.
My mother, she brought it, she made it, brought it everywhere, and people went crazy at birthday parties.
As long as it's not tapioca pudding, I'm down with any kind of pudding.
You don't like chunks in your...
the texture of it is, it's almost like it's not...
Someone chewed it for you.
It's not good. So our question, what is the meal that traumatized you as a kid? 206-803-ROCK.
Navigating the business world is fraught with dangers. To thrive, you must drive change, break through disruption, and know exactly where to go next. Armanino, a top 20 accounting and consulting firm, provides the insights, clarity, and strategy you need to succeed. You won't just win today, you'll redefine the game. Learn how at armanino.com. Possible, redefined.
99.9 KISW. The shenanigans continue. This is the men's room with Miles and Thrill.
Our question, what is the meal that traumatized you as a kid? 206-803-ROCK.
Hello, Daniel. Welcome to the men's room.
Liquor and whores.
Liquor and whores.
Happy sunny Wednesday here in beautiful Seattle. So
Does no one know what day of the week it is? We were struggling with that ourselves.
Thursday, not Wednesday. I'm a day behind, or at least a day behind versus $1 short.
Where did you grow up?
I was born in Seattle, brother.
Okay. I'm trying to think. Because typically if you hear someone's grown up in the Midwest, you could count on a casserole or salads.
Okay, I see what you're doing,
salads
man.
that don't have lettuce. But if you're born in the South, it's going to be maybe like chitlins or,
Right.
I don't know, pig's feet sandwiches. Or that's why I'm asking, just from a geographical standpoint.
Right.
Okay, so you're here in Seattle. Is it a Norwegian dish?
Hey, actually, I am Norwegian. No, I think it was born out of poverty. To tell you the truth, Miles. Yeah, it was canned spinach, boiled, and then add some vinegar to it.
Well, the spinach in a can's already been cooked. I don't know why you would need to boil it.
Because people did that.
Well, you got to heat it up. We did it.
Okay.
That's so gross.
It was absolutely horrid. I mean, she tried the Brussels sprouts, and those got tossed. I got in trouble for throwing them, but, you'd mentioned Ambrose earlier. That was definitely something.
Well, Ted's brought this up. There's some science behind the fact that Brussels sprouts taste better now.
Yeah, they changed
30, 40 years ago.
Basically, they bred them to get rid of whatever the chemical was. They were universally hated, pretty much. So whatever scientists figured out, like, we can remove this enzyme or protein or whatever it is that gives it the nasty taste. And that's why, the popularity of them is skyrocketing.
Have you ever seen?
We steamed them and put them in vinegar.
Have you ever seen them on the stalk before? Have you ever been to a grocery store? That blew my mind. That was like, again, I didn't know how they were grown. I didn't know what they looked like or anything like that. And then I saw, so I bought a Brussels sprout log, basically.
A Brussels sprout log?
Yeah, that's what I called it. I didn't know what the hell. I did not know that that's how they grew. I'd never seen them before.
It's funny you say that, because he brought up spinach. You're talking about the Brussels sprouts. And I've never liked spinach, never wanted to eat it. And we didn't get canned spinach. We always got the frozen spinach, which, by the way, Mom, if you're listening, another horrible night for me as a child. But we did the frozen spinach. And that's all I ever saw. So much like people say with cranberry sauce when they're growing up, later in life you discover, like, the cranberry sauce came out of the can, like, that's just canned cranberry sauce. You didn't actually realize people make a sauce out of cranberries. So to me, spinach, it wasn't like an actual plant. It was just something that somehow was always frozen. And then when I started work, and I know this sounds stupid, but even when you watch Popeye as a kid, he cracked open a can, right?
Oh, yeah.
It was never a handful of, like, fresh spinach. So I remember working in a restaurant, and I'm kind of reading down the menu to see what we'll be making. It was like salmon with wilted spinach, and I'm like, ew, man. And I remember just seeing an actual spinach leaf, and I'm like, I'll be damned. It's actually a plant. Mm-hmm. It's just a normal frickin' plant. But growing up between just, the frozen spinach and Popeyes, it never occurred to me that it's actually a thing.
Right. Dude, I'm with you. I hate to admit this. I was in my 20s and was at a salad place and was like, that lettuce just looks greener.
Right.
And then I kept ordering them, and finally, I think it was Miles one day, and goes, you're a spinach salad guy. It didn't even dawn on me I was eating spinach
Even when
salad.
you were eating it, it didn't occur to you.
I guess I just like
that's
spinach.
That's one step down from kale as far as the shoot goes, man.
That's another reason that I hate kale, because spinach is a god.
It's going to run right through you, man. It's like, bam, it's done. Yeah. I think growing up, the only kind of lettuce we had was iceberg lettuce. And that was, man.
Yeah, you only got, and again, that's one of those things. If you said lettuce, I assume that all lettuces were iceberg lettuce. Again, start working in restaurants, and I'm like, what is romaine lettuce? And I see it, and I'm like, well, that's a Caesar salad. I did not realize that there were other lettuces other than iceberg, but also I've always hated salad, so it wasn't something I was going to research. But mind blown.
The dreaded thing, also the dreaded thing on the counter in the refrigerator for me was just basically cabbage. Because the way the cabbage was cooked it didn't end up being coleslaw.
Right.
It didn't end up
if
being...
If it became coleslaw, you're fine. If it doesn't, you're like, oh, no.
It didn't end up being sauerkraut. It ended up being like something, it's always like peppers, cabbage, and ground beef, it was just... it just did not need to be there, and it sucked. I hated it.
I feel like in the 70s, what we determined, there's two main things that I really took out of 70s quote-unquote cuisine was that, one, there was this universal belief among all people that you can add cream of mushroom soup to anything and you think you've made it better. This is patently false, but it did not stop people from adding it to everything. And ground beef basically needed no seasoning. It was literally, just cooked it, and then you put it on a plate and you put something else on the plate and you're like, this is a meal. Huh?
It's 100 times better, even if you use canned mushrooms, just to use heavy whipping cream, some butter, make your own damn mushroom. So you do not use the stuff out of it. First of all, it's concentrated.
Right.
So it needs to be broken down first, and it never is. It's always cooked as the can.
Do you know anyone who eats cream of mushroom soup? I know a lot of people that use it, but I've never seen anyone just have a bowl.
Have you ever gone to a restaurant where they have it? I never have. I've never heard of it on the menu in a fancy steakhouse.
I think it's the same thing with onion soup.
Right, like...
I don't know anybody that's ever... They make onion dip, but I've never seen somebody pull out that little packet and make onion soup in a cup.
Right, it just doesn't happen.
No, the French onion packet is for everything else. It's for meatloaf, it's for hamburgers, it's for
exactly
9 million different things, but it's not for that. What is the meal that traumatized you as a kid? 206-803-ROCK.
Hello, Courtney. Welcome to the men's room.
Hola, gent.
Hola.
How are you guys doing today?
We're doing great. It's a lovely Wednesday afternoon.
It's warm.
We might even... I saw they got 10 bottles of wine. Well, why don't we just grab a bottle of wine and start chugging?
See if they notice.
We should, man.
Yeah, why not?
You know what?
No, it'll be fine.
Yeah.
So I have two, but they're adjacent. So my parents, for whatever reason, got a wild hair up their ass for a while when I was about 6, and they had a quote-unquote competition to see who could make the best red beans and rice. Mm-hmm. Which led to us eating nothing but red beans and rice for about 2 solid weeks.
So they were doing this like every day?
Every day. every single day. And it would be one day where it'd be fresh, and then the next 3 days would be leftovers. And then so one day it would be my dad's recipe. We'd eat it until it was gone. And then my mom did her recipe, and we'd eat that until it was gone. And then my dad couldn't stand to be a loser, so because we liked my mom's better, so he then just persisted in completing several more recipes to try to get it better.
So
it was terrible.
Let me ask you this. So if you eat it that consistently, you might have an answer for me here. What does that do to your guts? Because when I'm thinking beans, they're going to make you poop yourself or fart. But then you have rice, which bunches your ass up. And
so I don't recall a whole lot of gastrointestinal issues, but again, I was pretty young when they did this. However, I do know that my brother farted a lot, but he was also, a 9-10-year-old boy, so he did that anyway.
Yes, I'm going through that now. Yes.
I mean, red beans and rice I just like, so this sounds like a fantasy.
But 2 weeks solid, man.
Yeah, I guess you're right. 2 weeks would be bad.
It's a lot. And then the other one, which again is kind of adjacent, and I don't know if this was just my household or if it was just a late 80s, early 90s thing, but we had that rice-a-roni that was chicken flavored with almost every single freaking meal. And to this day, I cannot stand it.
I don't mind rice-a-roni. I don't mind that. Man, I'll tell you what the game changer though, man, that we've stepped into in this new world is the 90-second bagged rice.
Yes.
Where you stick that bad boy in the microwave, you tear each little corner a little bit, you put it in there, 90 seconds later, whatever. If you want jasmine rice, brown rice, white rice, whatever, man, bam, 90 seconds. Because rice, you can either make it well or you cannot.
Correct.
I am not good at making it well. So to me, I cannot.
Well, my parents were not either. So you were not alone.
Well, there's a fine line between mushy and
right. Now, Courtney,
it was always mushy.
Do you have children of your own?
I do not.
If you did,
I have dogs.
What do you think would be the meal that you cook that they would hate?
Gosh, I don't know. I mean, I tend to think of myself as a pretty decent cook.
I think we all do, but your kids are always honest. That's the thing about children. If they hate it, they will let you know real quick.
You might. It's not that you can't cook it well. You just might like a food item that they don't like. And that's
right.
Yeah, I mean, I guess I would say probably just based on what my nieces and nephews have said in the past, especially when they were pretty young, was I really like spicy food. So when I make tacos, for instance, I tend to make it with a spicier taco mix. So maybe that, because a lot of young children don't like spice.
Okay, that's fair. I mean, that's fair.
Now, do you do just ground beef and do the typical home-style tacos, American tacos?
Yeah, I mean, I mix it up. So I'll do, 1 week I'll do ground beef, 1 week I'll do ground turkey or chicken, and then I'll do shrimp every once in a while, depending on if it looks like it's good in season.
Right.
So I try to mix up the protein, but typically I like Penzi's spices, and they have one in Seattle, but they make really good spice mix, and they have a really great taco seasoning.
It's funny because
chicken pot, the crock pot chicken with a thing of salsa, thighs or whatever, and tear it all apart. That, to me, those are some of the best homemade tacos.
That's the way. My wife used to make tacos all the time, right? And she'd always do them with ground beef. And, I was quiet. I never said anything. They're not bad. They just are what they are. So, and we did a show, it's probably about 10 years ago. And, Miles, you and I went off about how much we hate ground beef tacos.
Well, there's just better options. I still go back to one every once in a while.
So we're bitching about it, and I get home. My wife's like, I am never making ground beef tacos again. So what are you talking about? She's like, I heard the show. She's like, I felt bad. I'm like, no, listen. If you're going to cook, do what you want. I just hate them. So now, if we do taco night, like usually, it's like shredded beef, shredded chicken. We definitely up the game by bitching about how much we hate it.
Well, if I have ground beef tacos, it's because, or a burrito, it's because specifically I'm like, I'm going to be kind of trashy and get the ground beef tacos.
Sure.
And I've got to the point where I don't even make tacos at home anymore because there's a restaurant bar in Fremont called Red Star. And they have probably 10, 12 different types of tacos.
Red Star is the bar.
Everything from blackened fish, if you like that, if you're into those kind of tacos.
Red Star's great.
To breaded fish and catfish, if you're into the fish world.
Yeah.
Cod, all that crap. And then they have pork adobo, and then they have braised short ribs. And I mean, I just get 4 different tacos, shrimp tacos.
Sure.
And just mix it all up, some chicken and lime. And man, I can't just have the same type of taco and 4 of them anymore. If I'm going to have 4 tacos, man, I'm going to have 4 different kinds of tacos.
But if you have a place like that around the corner,
so I'm saying they spoil
that
me.
is the move.
Well, I would also say, too, when I was a kid, to me, if you made tacos at home, there was only one company, El Paso.
Right.
Right, we got the shells from them, we got the seasoning from them. I mean, even to this day, I'll still buy their taco seasoning just because I'm
That's the best.
Does Ortega make tacos? Or am I just
sure
imagining that?
Yeah, well, they do the salsas. They
have a lot of
kids.
stuff.
They're in the blue box.
I feel like El Paso, maybe I'm right. I just feel like that was like the first. That was just the one we used. Yeah.
That's absolutely the one we knew. But I feel like Ortega snuck into our life sometime later.
Well, as far as what they call the international food section. So they kind of look like that.
Oh, yeah, right.
So the international food section growing up, which was
taco shells,
so worldly,
pasta sauce.
It's basically like English, steak sauce and beans from Heinz that you can't buy in the United States, and a couple other things. But the worst one out of them all was the La Choy group, because Ortega was great.
You didn't like La Choy?
I was not a fan.
Oh, those little crispy noodles.
Oh, man! I like the crispy noodles.
We used it. We made their chow mein.
That was the best part.
Yeah.
Thank you.
But everything else in the vegetables in the can that were whether they're water chestnuts or bamboo shoots or those
who buys water chestnuts?
Little tiny pieces.
What are you making?
Even Chinese
that
restaurants
you bought water chestnuts.
It's almost like a radish that's just been fermented.
Let me tell you
I don't
this.
know what the hell
if
it is.
you're at the grocery store right now, and anywhere on your
God,
list,
I hate La Choy.
It says water chestnuts. Just know whatever it is you're about to make, everyone else in your family hates. I'm just speaking for them.
Their sauces are fine. If you're buying like an oyster sauce or soy sauce or fish sauce or any of that stuff, teriyaki, all those things that you need to make this thing flavorful, those are all pretty solid. It's just the actual, and this is, again, I'm going back to the 70s. They might have completely changed their game in the 80s. I don't know. I just know for a fact that Chinese food was not expensive growing up, and it was actually filling, and you could get a lot of it. So the idea that you needed to make this at home was ridiculous to me. There's a reason I don't make Chinese. I'm a pretty good cook.
I never got to order Chinese food when I was a kid. We got pizza at best. You didn't order anything. You either went to a restaurant, which was rare, or my brother came home with his report card. I got the benefit from my brother doing well in school, and he's older than me, right? So he would get all A's, and the parents would take us all out to dinner. And then by the time he went off to college and they started...
Where did he want to go, though?
My brother, he wasn't particularly adventurous, but when you're young and you say Ponderosa, I'm in.
Sure, yeah.
If you say Perkins, I'm in. Howard Johnson's, I'm in.
Western Sizzlin'.
Right? For me, man, my report cards came home. It's like, now, not only are we not going out for dinner, you're making your own, right? So, but La Choy was the first time we finally stepped away from the El Paso world, got exotic. So La Choy, I was like, thank you. Just thank you for being here, man.
Really?
You know what I mean? Yes.
It was same thing with me 100%.
Just like, thank you for something new.
Okay,
and we didn't order Chinese food, so it's like, if we wanted Chinese food, either move to goddamn China or we're eating La Choy.
You go to a Chinese restaurant, what is the first thing you get? What's the first thing you order before you even get your meal?
Egg roll?
Egg rolls. Yeah. Okay, now I'm having a Chinese meal without a damn egg roll. And you can't replicate them, and you can't make them better than a Chinese
restaurant. But you
restaurant.
had the luxury of knowing that was part of the Chinese thing. We did not order Chinese fancy pants over there. We weren't ordering Chinese
food. Once you take the good food off the table at the beginning of the meal, I'm like, no. It's like going to an Italian restaurant, and they don't have bread and butter out first. You're like, hey,
look, but again, you had a much better experience than I did as far as food goes.
Chinese food was not expensive in West Virginia. Nothing.
No. It's not that. It's just that, like, we didn't go out to eat.
Right.
On Fridays, we would order something, either go to a restaurant or bring it in. Mm-hmm. But like Thrill's right. Like it was like the same routine. Like cream chip beef one night.
Yep.
You had roast beef on Sundays. You had that tuna casserole usually on Fridays if we didn't go out. So like when that La Choy stuff started showing up as a kid, like it just had more flavor. We just thought it was awesome.
Right.
That may have been my first erection.
Who the hell? Okay, newsflash: you invented takeout food. What restaurants?
I don't know.
Chinese restaurants. They invented it. You didn't have to eat there. They give it to you in a box.
But we did. What did you not get? We did not get it.
Oh, man.
I don't give a goddamn rat's ass that they walk up to my house and offered it. We did not get it.
Jeez.
So when they introduced La Choy, for those of us who did not have that luxury,
this
it
West
was
Virginian
fantastic.
so fancy.
Just, I don't know what you don't get. We didn't get Chinese food. You did.
That's horrible.
So when we got La Choy, that was great for us because we didn't go out and get it. Whether it was cheap, expensive, it didn't matter. We didn't get it in the house. So when they brought La Choy, we were like, F to the yeah, man. Make anything with La Choy, we're not going to complain.
Okay, it is a crappy
because if this is what Chinese food is, which it is not, but when you don't know, it's like great.
Here's my guilty pleasure, like La Choy, that tastes nothing like the actual food that I loved, and that is the Chef Boyardee pizza kit, which either came in a yellow box if it was cheese or a green box if it was pepperoni. And they were the crust was horrible. You can never get it right, but the sauce was so good. And it was grated cheese.
Yes,
it was just grated cheese. And I don't know why, man. If I saw that box on the counter, I'm like, oh man. And trust me, we would get pizza brought home. I mean, good pizza. You know, like, wow, this is good pizza. But for some reason, Chef Boyardee, as crappy as that pizza was.
Because you got to make it at home. Like, for us, if we had that, it meant probably my cousins were coming over, and you're right.
So it meant a good time.
Right. I don't know. I can't tell you how that stuff tasted, but we just had so much fun doing it.
That's a good point.
What is a meal that traumatized you as a kid? 206-803-ROCK.
We all have tasks we'd like to avoid, like mailing and shipping. It takes time lugging all those letters and packages to the post office. That's why you should try Stamps.com. For 25 years, Stamps.com has made mailing and shipping easy. You get all the services of the post office right on your computer, anytime. No traffic, no waiting, no hassle. Plus, you save money with discounts up to 84% on USPS and UPS. With Stamps.com, all you need is a computer and printer. Print stamps, print shipping labels, and if you sell products online, Stamps.com connects with every major marketplace and shopping cart, so you can spend less time on shipping and more time on your business. Get started with Stamps.com today. Sign up with promo code PROGRAM for a special offer that includes a 4-week trial, plus postage and a digital scale. Just go to Stamps.com and enter code PROGRAM.
Dealing with an accident and injury claim can be overwhelming. Let Phillips Law Firm fight for you. We understand the pain and suffering, and we're here to guide you through. Call 1-800-JUSTICE today for a free case review, or visit justiceforyou.com and let Phillips Law Firm help you on the road to recovery.
Hey there, everybody. I'm Melvin Robert from the TV show Extra. Every day on our show, we talk to the biggest celebrities and the biggest newsmakers around. We get exclusive details about hookups and breakups, baby news, and the behind-the-scenes info from your favorite TV shows and movies. But we can only fit so much on our show. That's where Extra the Podcast comes in. Listen and follow Extra the Podcast, an Odyssey podcast on the Odyssey app or wherever you get your podcast.
Hey, it's Mike Hawk. Want more Men's Room content? Follow the Men's Room page of the Odyssey app and check out my live stream, A Moment with Mike Hawk and Nothing in Particular with Steve the Thrill Hill. Going live Thursdays and Fridays at 1 exclusively on the Men's Room page of the Odyssey app.
KISW. We return to the Men's Room with Miles and Thrill.
Ted, you grew up in a better decade than we did as far as the food goes.
You know what?
All right,
There's
let's
one thing
hear
we
it.
know, and you don't really think about this much, but we're doing a little research today. We started with the 60s, right, and moving ourselves forward. And you realize things changed in the 80s, and you realize with the advent of the microwave oven, food, seriously, man, you didn't have them in the 70s. And once the microwave got introduced and became a common appliance, like the meals that people made changed a lot, and also I think this was the true beginning of parents say, make it yourself.
Also, we got out of the casserole days, the terrible things that we used to make in the 70s and 60s.
I know, Miles was talking about that rice earlier. I was like, God, I got to buy a microwave.
You don't necessarily have to.
I know, but just simple stuff like that, like the rice or steam packs of just little things.
Popcorn, maybe.
Popcorn's the one for me. We actually bought it. So we've been microwave free for years and years and years now. I kind of like it better that way. Just you put more thought into cooking, you have longer conversations, blah, blah, blah. We actually got a microwave for like my daughter's 6th or 7th birthday because my wife came up with the idea that I hated to do a spa day for all those little girls. And part of that included melting down wax or something like that. But I don't know, man. It was chicks doing what chicks do to make themselves feel better, right? But we needed a microwave. So we still have the microwave. The only thing I have cooked in that microwave since we've had it is microwave popcorn.
Yeah, nothing wrong with that. So family recipes you totally ate in the 80s include chicken and Swiss casserole. I'm not sure if I've ever had that.
I don't know that one.
It was, I do remember it. It basically was like any casserole you had in previous decades, but instead of being tuna and frickin' cream of mushroom soup, they said, let's take actual Swiss cheese, actual chicken, melt it in with the noodles.
That's not the
so
bad.
it wasn't awful.
That's not the worst. Pepperoni pizza loaf. Now, to me, that sounds great because I'm a pepperoni roll guy coming from West Virginia. I don't know if that I've ever had a pepperoni pizza loaf.
I'd have to look that up.
Yeah,
it doesn't sound familiar.
No. Sausage lasagna.
Mm-hmm. Yep. Always.
Mm-hmm. Turkey sloppy joes. How about any kind of sloppy joes?
Manwich.
Yeah.
Did they start bringing out the ground turkey then? I feel like the ground turkey was more of like a mid-90s forward.
Yeah,
I don't remember ground turkey.
But with sloppy joes, it somehow is not as bad. I think.
Because all that sauce.
Yeah, there's nothing wrong with ground turkey.
It can be ground Bigfoot.
Place.
You would not know.
I've had great turkey burgers.
Sure.
I've had other things, but like a turkey meatloaf kind of is just.
No. When's the last time you had a sloppy joe?
Oh man, it's been a long time.
It's been so long, but it's so good.
And I know. And then we always say, "Oh, we're going to do
a
it."
sloppy Joe.
I think we've been saying that for 3 years.
Well, I'll tell you what will happen. It'll be like tater tots. It'll take off how in the restaurant works,
and then the price will go up.
And you have an opportunity to get one.
This is our $18 deconstructed sloppy Joe. You cannot deconstruct a sloppy Joe.
Yeah, and why would you make what do they call that? Like a minced meat, the Midwestern thing, a minced meat sandwich?
Yeah, minced meat pie.
It's just the ground beef.
No, loose meat.
Loose meat.
Yeah, mince meat is like what's in a pie over in England.
All right. Loose meat sandwiches, which is the ground beef that you would just grind up.
And then we put no effort into it.
No, salt, pepper, just put it right on the bun. I'm like, why wouldn't you add a can of manwich?
Or make a hamburger.
Something. That sounds, God.
Is it a sloppy Joe? Is it a hamburger? No, it's just a loose meat sandwich.
Crunchy almond turkey casserole. Doesn't sound too bad.
See, they're trying to improve. Like, nobody wanted to part with casseroles. They're trying to improve what's in them.
Hearty Salisbury steaks. A lot of pizza things. Pizza roll-up.
Salisbury steak. That was my favorite.
Oh, me too.
On like a TV dinner?
Yeah, the TV dinner one's for sure.
Yeah.
You think you could eat one now? What is the feeling? It would just taste
it's great. It's just ground beef formed in a steak with gravy, right?
Yeah. But that gravy was kind of weird, man.
Also, as a kid, we were convinced that started in Salisbury, Maryland.
No, you lived close enough.
Oh, man. Okay, pepperoni pizza loaf is legit. I see exactly what the hell they're doing there. Man, that looks good. Okay, I'm down with that. Kind of looks like every once in a while down at Petoskey, Pierogi.
Yeah, it looks like a giant pierogi.
Yeah, they have the pepperoni one that they do every once in a while.
Pizza. It looks like not a calzone. What's the other one?
Stromboli.
Yeah.
Stromboli, yeah. Classic cabbage rolls.
No.
Oh. We had those sometimes.
And is that basically, we don't do anything to the cabbage, we just fill it, roll it, and that's your meal?
It's kind of done with the leaves, where you use the leaves and you either fill it with rice or something, or depending on what you want to stuff it with. Kind of,
and like that's
anything you would stuff in a pepper, you can stuff in a cabbage.
I feel like that's if you want to do it as a side, that's one thing. But if you said no, like this is the entire dinner.
I'll give you an idea. So you take a ground turkey and you brown it all up, right? And then you take the leaves from the cabbage and you put the ground beef in there and whatever else you might want. Then you roll that all up so it kind of looks like a little tiny burrito, and you stick it in a Pyrex pan. Then you cover that in either some kind of spaghetti sauce or tomato.
That's how we always had them.
And then you cook it down.
Hey, Mom, thanks for not making that one.
Honestly, dude, by the time it cooks and stuff, because even as a kid, I like those, but I don't remember it tasting much like cabbage.
Okay, that's the important part.
Baked spaghetti on the list.
Yep.
Pizza, macaroni, and cheese. Don't think I've ever had pizza, macaroni, and cheese. That's the 80s as far as family recipes. Our question, what is the meal that traumatized you as a kid? 206-803-ROCK.
And again, all Irish Catholics in my family, but everybody makes baked ziti as well.
Well, that's
traditional
fantastic.
Irish dish.
As long as they don't dry it out. That's the only thing.
Hello, Breck. Welcome to the men's room.
Hola, gentlemen.
Hola.
By the way, German cabbage rolls are amazing. I know they're a little bit different than American cabbage rolls, but they're typically stuffed with like a steak or like a ground steak with like onions and some other stuff, not rice and the typical crappy.
Is there any kind of sauce that it's cooked in?
Yes, yeah. It's you pan fry them and then you throw them in the oven with like a sauerkraut-esque tasty sauce.
Okay.
I would say the Polish ones are pretty good too.
Mm-hmm. You know, it's funny. We were in Germany.
Really, really good. I don't know if there's any really good German restaurants up in Seattle, but there is down here in Olympia. So if you ever come this way,
well, here's our problem.
Get one.
We were in Germany, and like I said, you can go to France, you can go to Italy, you can go to Spain, you can go to Mexico. And if English is your first language, you can figure out enough to know what you want to order. We're sitting there in Germany, man, and honest to God, like I kept staring at the menu, and I'm like, I don't know why I'm doing this. There's no word on there. You know that means? Yeah. So what I would do is just figure out anything that said schnitzel. I knew, okay, it's meat, so I'm going to order that. And I remember, Miles, you struck out one day like, you know what, I'm going to order the right? And it was like a beet salad or something, or beet soup. It was something awful, man.
I don't think I was the one who struck out. I played very conservative when I was in Germany.
You literally have no idea what you're ordering.
I don't know. I'm just trying to look at the menu, and it's just all gibberish.
Look for schnitzel.
Yes. I needed babble.
Yeah.
So what was the food that traumatized you growing up?
So, okay, we grew up really super poor and got most of our food from food stamps or the food commissaries back in the day. So you ever we get that 10-pound block of not only cheese but ground beef that was like 50% fat.
Yeah.
And then my mom would take that, put it into a patty, and then basically fry it in a pan till it was black, and then put mayonnaise on it, and that was dinner. And then, man, sometimes we used to get mashed potatoes, but it was really like mashed lumps, and it was just, my mom could not cook worth beans, and it was just like, but I just remember that tar tasting ground beef with the mayonnaise, because you had to put so much mayonnaise, because that's the only thing that we had is like a topping. You put so much mayonnaise on it just to gum it down.
Okay, did you have a name for the dish?
No.
Okay, it was just meat and mayonnaise night.
Yeah.
Okay, well, here's a little secret. If you are doing hamburgers on the grill for real, or if you're using any kind of hamburger that's going to flavor the meal that you're doing, like, even if you're doing like stuffed peppers or so, because sometimes you'll put rice and that, and basically the same thing you would stuff a cabbage roll with.
Yeah.
To me, anything like 60-40 on the, okay, a Wagyu steak, right? Now that thing has more fat in it than any other steak. It's also, or a snow cut of beef. That stuff is unbelievably expensive. You cannot believe, and it's all based on the fat content, which flavors the steak. In the case of hamburger meat, you want more fat. Yes, you can buy 90-10. Yes, you can buy lean ground beef. Yes, it's more expensive.
But you got a dry ass burger.
It doesn't make any sense that that's more expensive. That's like saying that, a steak with no marbling in it should be more expensive. When the reverse is true with a steak, I just wonder why that's not the case with ground beef.
Well, I think because with ground beef was the same thing that happened, right? And I forget the name of that movie or that documentary I watched. But like in the 80s, 90s, even early 2000s, right? Nothing had fat in it, but they pumped everything with sugar and salt.
Correct.
So people started buying. It was like better to have lean ground beef and this and that. And it's like, right, but if you're going to make a burger, it's got to be at least, 80-20?
Easily.
Like,
easily.
You need fat
that's what I'm saying.
to make it good, but fat was the enemy for so long.
If you see a log of ground beef, that's the one you want.
That's the one you want to get. Yeah, for burgers.
Especially for smash burgers and things like that. You want the fatty meat. You want the cheap stuff. You don't want the expensive stuff.
To Ted's point, where they made fat the enemy, in foods, especially during the 80s, did any of you guys stumble into the sizzling world?
Oh, yeah.
The replacement for bacon.
Man.
Oh, yeah.
My mother bought it once that I remember, okay? And because, again, it was just the fad where if there's no fat.
It had its own taste, but it was a good taste.
It had its own taste. It was not the taste of bacon, but I want to say maybe she cooked it once, and I think our consensus was like, it's not that it's bad, but can we just stick with bacon?
Right.
This is a weird, dry ass.
As far as just, is this food or not? I think.
the new game show sweeping the nation.
I would lose my mind if my family came home with a 16-pack of Steakums. A box of Steakums.
Oh, that was a big one for us, too.
Man,
Steakum. That's when.
I don't know why, that thin piece of just whatever the hell that is. I was so excited. That would be my, if I was cooking dinner on my own.
Absolutely.
Steakums, man. I mean, I would figure out a way to doctor them up if I could. Like, I put some onion in there, I tried to make it like a steak sandwich that you get at a sub shop.
My only issue with Steakums, and this is just being a kid thing, is I would be pissed if we didn't have rolls. Sometimes we just eat them on white bread.
That's right.
No. It's like, come on.
Yeah.
That is a weird thing as a kid. Like, man, the parents like, dude, just put the burger on white bread. You're like, but I want it on a hamburger roll. And as a parent, I now get it. But they're like, man, it's the same thing. But from a kid's position.
No, it's not.
It is not. That's why they call it a hamburger bun. And they call it this. Yeah. And here's the other thing. Mom, we never got white bread. We always got the goddamn wheat bread, man. And I swore. All right, so there's a lot of things that happen when you move out of your house, and I'm never going to blank. And obviously, I failed at most of that. But the one thing I have not done that I swore I would never do is buy goddamn wheat bread. I was I will not eat this again.
No, I don't either.
And it's not that it's the worst thing in the world. But when you did have the, oh crap, I just put hot dogs in the microwave or whatever the hell, I got to eat this thing on a piece of wheat bread.
Even at breakfast, people say, like, do you want wheat bread? I'm like, hell no. Sourdough. Give me something, man.
Sourdough every time.
Yeah, not wheat bread.
Give me something that tastes better. And I'll also say this. I mean, Eddie Murphy did an entire sketch on the fact that he just wanted to go to McDonald's.
Right.
And they were making burgers at home. He's like, there's onions and green peppers dripping out of it, and there's on white bread. He's like, that ain't McDonald's.
Did you get stuck with that? It happened on occasion. But, man, and again, parents, listen, if your kid wants a burger, and I'm speaking for every child everywhere, past, present, future, they just want a hamburger. Now, I know that you think it is cool to put onions and stuffed peppers inside of it and all that kind of Eddie Murphy stuff, but he wasn't kidding.
No.
It sucked, and it was horrible, and then your kid sits there, at least a kid like me, pulling out the onions and peppers that you painstakingly cooked.
And they could have bought it, because we had this thing called a Wonder Bread store, What is the Wonder Bread store? That bread's got 2 to 3 days at max. So when it's been sitting on the shelf at the grocery store, wherever it is, once it reaches a certain expiration date, the guy in the Wonder Bread truck, he would pick that up and take that back to the Wonder Bread store. Now, you knew it only had 2 or 3 days.
It's almost like hospice care for Wonder Bread. Like, look, it's going to be dead soon.
Hot dog.
We did it too.
Hot dog buns don't stick around if you've got a package of hot dogs.
That is correct.
Hamburger buns do not stick around if you are making hamburgers.
Correct.
You're not going. You might waste a half a loaf of bread. You are not wasting buns.
No.
They will be eaten. You will find a way to. Nothing worse than a microwave hot dog and a white piece of bread.
Yes, there is.
White
wheat
bread.
Yes.
What is a meal that traumatized you as a kid? 206-803-ROCK.
Man, yeah, I mean, you're not wrong, Miles, but I was such a little fat kid. I mean, I would hammer down hot dogs on white bread.
Well, that's all we had.
I mean, you still do it.
Saying, you went to the Wonder store. You bought a loaf of bread.
Right.
Get the buns.
They're right there.
They're cheap, too. I mean, I'm serious. When I say that these... Like, you could buy a loaf of bread for 99 cents. You could buy a package of buns for 50.
Granted, they still went bread.
They only had 1 or 2 days left on them, but you could still put them in the toaster as long as it was. It's Wonder Bread. Wonder Bread. You can't even grow mold on Wonder Bread because it's got to be so many preservatives. I mean, it's the whitest of the white bread.
Even mold's like, no,
I'm not doing.
We don't know what that is. Hello, Jesse. Welcome to the men's room.
Hola.
Hola.
All right, guys. My mom is the worst cook ever. She inspired me to be a chef.
Are you kidding?
No.
She was that bad.
That's why I cook professionally, because I was a picky eater, and when I learned how to cook food, I was like, oh, food's good. Wow.
Mom, you should try food sometime.
What was her worst dish?
It was pork chop dinner.
Okay, why was it so bad?
Cold pan, pork chops in the pan. Then you take an onion, cut in any direction, large chunks, inedible large chunks.
Cut in any direction.
And then you just put that can of cream mushroom soup, and then 2 cans of milk.
Jesus God!
I mean, like concentrated milk, like carnation stuff, or
No, just milk. No, just cream mushroom soup, and then you fill the can up with just whole milk. And then she would put that on the stove and let it boil for like 40 minutes.
Now, did you know that your mom was a terrible cook when you were growing up, or it's something you figured out? Like maybe you went to a buddy's house, had the same meal, except somehow his version tasted edible.
No, I straight up. I always thought being a cook would be cool, and I went to a culinary school in like high school, and I learned. They were like, "Oh, you can put salt in things. You can cut things right. You can like." I don't know how to say it. Like as soon as I figured out what you could do something with food, like this is amazing. Like, I was the pickiest eater ever. I would never eat anything. But like you said, like you talk about how you do like the stay at the table.
Yeah,
you got to finish your dinner. I'm like, this sucks, Mom.
Yeah, like I said, it was easier to sit at the table. Because, like I said, my parents weren't, like, yelling at me. They're just like, all right, fine, you go to bed hungry. And based on what it was that was in front of me, tomato pie, one of those weird spinach dishes she made, like, I'll wait, man. I will sit here for 3 hours until I have to go to bed. It's perfectly fine.
One other thing I've noticed about people who can't cook, Mom, is that it's inherently true that their parents could, or at least their mother could.
Right.
At that generation, typically the mother stayed at home and she cooked.
Yeah.
My grandmother to this day can cook her ass off. I mean, it might take her a little bit longer because she has a harder time getting around. But
she's 95 years old.
But we would go to grandparents' house, and the food was phenomenal. I looked forward to going to grandparents' home because I knew I was going to eat well, breakfast, lunch, and dinner.
Oh, you definitely got all 3 meals.
And so where is the discourse where do you not? I tell my kids, man, anything you like, do me a favor. I would love to spend time with you in the kitchen and teach you how to make it, or just show you what the ingredients are. So we'd spend time in the kitchen all the time, just making all kinds of stuff. Like, look, you like it, you need to know how to make this.
Sure.
That way, when you move out, you go to college or whatever. So my daughter would make these meals for her roommates, and they loved them. It was basically just what I taught her how to make.
I mean,
so how did my mom not do that?
Because I think if you grow up eating that, you can take, and you got to keep in mind too, a lot of parents like, please don't be in here when I'm doing stuff. Right? So my mom could have sat there and watched but my grandmother, how she treated me is probably different than how she treated my mom, because my mom was her child. So like, get out of my kitchen, get out of my house, go play. All the things that we say to our kids. But all my grandmother did was cook all day. Granted, again, secret ingredient, ash from the front of a Salem cigarette. But that's all she did. But my mom did not pick up on it. My dad grew up in Houston. He started learning to really work the grill and do the barbecue things probably about 20 years ago. Right. Because he was tired of getting heat from all the relatives.
I mean, it might be time, too, right? Like, right? Because, like, the 80s and 90s and stuff, like, a lot more moms went back to work.
True.
Sure.
And also with the microwave,
Also-
suddenly everyone could cook anything they want to eat as long as it's in a box in advance, right?
Also, I do know for a fact that my mom did try to replicate some of her mother's recipes, and with the exception of baking. My grandmother did not do anything she just eyeballed it.
Mm-hmm.
So she would say, all right, put some butter in a pan. Well, how much butter, Mom? Then you put some flour in. And you have to know those rations if you're going to make any kind of roux.
Yeah,
like 2 tablespoons for 2 tablespoons. You have to know that kind of stuff. My mom couldn't. She didn't. My grandmother just assumed that my mom knew that stuff.
Right.
So she would just say, you need this. But there's
no directions.
Right.
Just
and you bake it. And
mix it all together, bake it. Bake it till it's done. I always love when they say, bake it till it's done. How long does that take? You'll know when it's done.
What is the meal that traumatized you as a kid? 206-803-ROCK.
For 25 years, Stamps.com has made mailing and shipping easy. All you need is a computer and printer. Imagine mailing and shipping right from your desk, anytime. No traffic, no waiting, no hassle. Plus, Stamps.com gives you discounts up to 84%. Sign up for Stamps.com today. Use code PROGRAM for a 4-week trial, plus postage and a digital scale. That's Stamps.com, code PROGRAM.
9.9 KISW. The Men's Room returns with Miles and Thrill.
Who Sucks Last coming up right after emails on our question. What is the meal that traumatized you as a kid? 206-803-ROCK.
Hello, Lydia. Welcome to the Men's Room.
Hola, gentlemen.
Hola.
Sorry about earlier. My phone's been acting funny.
That's all right. We forgive you.
We've been acting funny in here, too.
Yeah, maybe it's been practicing to be a comedian.
So, as I was telling Mike, the food that traumatized me the most was meatloaf.
What? Now, here's the thing, all right? So a lot of people bitch about meatloaf, and I think we never ate it at home, but occasionally I'd eat it at a friend's house. And for whatever reason, it seemed like meatloaf from the 70s and 80s was very dry, and then something changed where now...
people learned how to make it.
You know what, that's it. That was the change. People,
honestly.
Because now it's really, really good. So how bad? Was it dry? What was it about the meatloaf you hated?
Well, when you have when your biological mother doesn't know how to cook, and she's Filipino, and she just likes to pile on everything from Filipino cuisine and all that, and just mashed all together into some Pan Asian thing, it comes off pretty terrible. It didn't help also that it was also mooing.
It was also what?
Mooing. It was raw. The way I say it, when I mean mooing.
Yeah, right.
Ew, man.
Well,
I don't
Filipino
know
food is... Filipino cooks are typically just amazing.
Yeah, but if you're trying to make meatloaf, if you don't know how to make meatloaf and you have a Filipino background, I would imagine the meatloaf's going to be bad. And certainly, if you cook the meatloaf rare, I've never had a rare meatloaf and don't want to.
Like, Miles, if you don't know me, you just look at my appearance, and I said, would you like to try my meatloaf or my lumpia?
Chorico meatloaf.
Right.
That's a fair question when you phrase it like that.
Yeah.
Deep down, I'd be like, I have to try your lumpia.
Well, the good news is now...
I believe you can nail meatloaf.
Meatloaf, lumpia.
The good news is now you can go to Google, type in meatloaf recipe, and you can see 10 of the best meatloaf recipes and try one of them, and you're not going to go wrong.
You're right. And I think the next generation, cooking is cool again. And there's so many little recipes and stuff that are easy. I think the next generation, they're all going to cook.
Right.
They'll probably just ask Alexa to guide them as they're doing it.
One of my prized possessions is my collection of what I believe to be the essentials of what I cook with as far as my my cookbook collection. Mm-hmm. And I've got an old school soup cookbook that's got 300 pages just of different soups.
Yeah.
All these different kind of things. I never open them. I have dry rub seasoning cookbooks that tell you how to make 20 million different kinds of dry rubs. I have barbecue cookbooks. I have all these different things.
But in the end, you do it to taste. If you know if you know how to make the base of anything,
and I get on my phone and just type in Google, and start looking around like, ooh, barbecue, Carolina this. I'm like, all right, that sounds good to me. I will just follow the recipe. I don't know why I have these. I have Italian cookbooks. I know exactly what I'm going to make Italian. I'm never going to branch out from
right. If you're going to make Italian, you're making what you like. That is Italian.
Lasagna, pasta.
I give my wife credit. She bought 3 cookbooks, I don't know, 6 months ago, which, to your point, it just seemed odd to me, only because, like I said, every time you want a recipe, you Google it, whatever. So she got these cookbooks from someone that she follows online, wherever. She's made 18 of the recipes. I mean,
really?
but like actually using the book. So I'll come home and it's strange. I remember seeing this as a kid where my mom has a cookbook on the counter. But since Google and all that, like, it just doesn't happen. But she has them out, and so far, everything she's made has been really, really good.
My tip on meatloaf is a fourth of a can to a half can of Coca-Cola or any type of root beer or Dr. Pepper.
Yeah.
You're not going to taste it. It's just going to make sure that the meat is good and juicy. Work that into the meat if you do a pound or two. You're good to go, man. That's typically 2 pounds, I believe, of ground beef on a meatloaf. I think that's the right, man.
I also like now some of the cooks I follow, like home cooks on Instagram and stuff.
Yeah.
Just call it W sauce. Enough of the Worcestershire, however we say it.
Just the W sauce.
Yep. I put that in my meatloaf and breadcrumbs, this and that. And then I always use bacon. But for some reason, I couldn't find bacon at a corner store. So I used some prosciutto once, which wasn't bad.
How was that?
Awesome.
Yeah, I had meatloaf for a dinner party couple's place kind of thing. And she made a meatloaf the day before.
Mm-hmm. That's the smart move.
And then put it in the refrigerator. And when she took it out, it was cold. And she cut it into perfect slices.
Yep.
And then flat grilled it. And
how good was it?
I've never had the ends of meatloaf, like the whole thing being crunchy.
Yeah.
And it was moist in the middle and crunchy on the outside. I'm like, this is a game changer. Like a good meatloaf sandwich.
That's what
she still did the gravy. She still did it the way it was, like traditional meatloaf.
If you have a meatloaf sandwich on your menu, I will order that. If you have French onion soup on your menu, I will order that. Mm-hmm. Those are almost 2 guarantees.
What is the meal that traumatized you as a kid? 206-803-ROCK.
Hello, Mike. Welcome to the men's room.
Hey, this is Mick, the karate guy.
Hello, Mick.
Oh, Mick, the karate guy.
Okay.
Yeah. Hey, so this food was so bad that when I would smell my parents cooking it walking up the street at 6 years old, I would have a primal drive to pack my stuff and run away.
What was it?
This chicken livers.
Oh, okay.
Oh, my dad would say, we were so poor when I was a kid. My mom would go to the butcher and say, can I have some liver for my cats? Yeah. And she would bring that home, and that's what they would eat.
I've had fried innards. I just don't know. I mean, that one bite, like, I don't know if I'm eating the heart. I don't know if I'm eating the liver.
It doesn't matter.
I know.
At that point, doesn't even matter.
I'm just picking up a thing and throwing it in my mouth. So typically, I don't even know what the hell I'm eating.
Heart's yummy. I mean, it's like a muscle, but there's just something that went wrong with liver. My mom would cook it with green peppers, and I was 39 years old before I could even put a green pepper in my mouth because the smell of chicken livers and green peppers ruined it for me. But chicken livers were bad. My dad was he drank a bit, and he was pretty tough on us. And the one thing he could never make me do, he could put a liver up to my face, and I would say, you can beat me till I bleed. I will not put one of those in my mouth.
Nick, how long on a separate note have you been doing the karate?
53 years.
53 years. Jeez.
When's the last time you had to open up a can of Kung Fu?
I was going to say.
So what I do to defend myself usually is I just yell at people really loud and flip out, and they run away and say, that guy crazy.
Because you can't be Nick the karate guy and have your ass kicked. So I'm assuming in all these 53 years you've never been beat up.
Oh, that's not true. I left teeth in parking lots in my drinking days, and I've done all that stuff.
Okay, just want to make sure. I like it.
I've been sober a few minutes.
Were they your teeth or someone else's?
My teeth. I left some teeth in parking lots, and I've learned as years went by that I'm kind of allergic to alcohol. I usually break out in handcuffs.
Yeah, that is always. I love that line.
Yeah.
So, yeah, but no, sport karate, helping kids, running a school. And it's a good way to be healthy, and got a great school on the Oregon Highway out in Graham, and had thousands of students, and my kids run it. It's a family deal, so hey, it's better than fighting traffic.
Yep. Okay.
I'll tell you what, man, I think the worst part about martial arts is that you have to be limber. Just like, I'm not feeling that, man. All the stretch. I used to know a guy that he taught Taekwondo and all this other thing, and so I think I was about 14, but he's just showing me some stuff, not all the hits, but he goes, look, man, before you even get to all the stuff that looks cool, this is other things we do. And it was like all stretching. And I'm like, I've already lost interest. It's like, I'm interested. You got to do this. I'm like, nah, I just want to learn how to do it.
Instead of hot yoga, it's like fight yoga.
Yeah, fight yoga.
You'd be surprised, though. You see some different body shapes in martial arts.
Yeah, absolutely.
But you're right. They're all limber.
But you wouldn't know it by like you said, by looking at some guys. You're like, man, he doesn't know. Yeah. Oh my God, he just kicked his head.
You look at a guy who used to work with Drep. He
big dude,
did karate for probably decades. I think his son did karate. Yeah. They were always in a dojo at least 2 or 3 times. He just doesn't. if you got into a fight with him, you would just assume that he would punch you in the face. He doesn't look like
That's
somebody who's going to do a
absolutely what you
roundhouse,
think.
knock you in the back of the head with his foot.
Said he's a big dude, got a deep voice and a big beard, and that's exactly, you'd be like, all right, this guy's going to break a beer bottle over your head. It's like, no, he's going to do a flying jump kick and actually kick you in your teeth.
Our buddy Gregor, who does mornings at the end, he's another karate master.
Is he a karate guy?
Yeah, he's a guy.
Here's
He's
the problem,
a karate guy.
Gregor.
He can kick your ass.
He's about 15 feet tall, so no matter how far away you are from him, he can still connect.
He'll try to kick, but he'll kick over your head.
That would be your safest bet.
Miss me, bitch. What is the meal that traumatized you as a kid? 206-803-ROCK.
I was gonna say that's why wrestling and like jiu-jitsu too, but like those are the only sports where it's like you don't have to sweat the super tall guy.
Correct.
Any striking sport, if somebody's that much taller, it is just
Hard.
it is. Trust me, it's hard to get inside without eating punches.
Not that you can't get there, it just hurts.
Yeah,
you got to reach, but that's it.
Hello, Holly. Welcome to the men's room.
Hola.
Hola.
So for some reason, and I am not sure how or why, but my mom used to make milk toast when you weren't feeling well. Either that or she would make you stewed tomatoes.
What exactly is milk toast?
They take a piece of toast and then you soak it in milk.
And
Exactly.
that's the beginning and end of that recipe.
Basically, is just you might as well just eat the toast and then drink the milk because it all mixes in your stomach anyway. You don't have to put those two. The idea being that both of those things would hopefully somewhat settle your stomach.
Okay, all right.
It did the opposite. Complete polar opposite.
Right, it's still got sugar and butter and salt and pepper and all the stuff in it.
Gross.
I don't blame you.
I don't want salt and pepper if I've got sugar rolling. You know what I'm saying?
I know I brought this up earlier. Did you guys ever eat cream chip beef for dinner?
Not for dinner.
No.
Yep.
Cream chip beef.
That's on a shingle, Mike.
Oh, gotcha.
That's right. So you get like toast, and you take dried chip beef. Maybe that's a Baltimore or East Coast thing.
No,
because
that's a southern thing.
All right, because a lot of people make it with ground beef too. I think that's when the Army is legit S on a shingle.
Yeah, come on, man. That's why it's S on a shingle.
But as a kid, man, we loved it. Like if it was ever an option, be like, yeah, Mom, make that cream chip beef.
What else is it that traumatized you as a kid there, Holly? Besides your milk toast?
Lots of things, but the stewed tomatoes was the other one.
Man, it took me to be an adult to appreciate that.
No, wait. Now, were the stewed tomatoes, again, now, I don't mind stewed tomatoes, but understand, under no circumstance do I believe that that's going to be my meal. They are an accompaniment. So was that like your dinner?
No, it was an accompaniment.
Okay.
It was just one that I put my foot down and was not going to eat.
All right.
There was, cold, whole tomatoes with uncooked onion and green pepper was just not my thing.
Okay.
And my mom didn't believe in spices, so everything was just what it was.
I hated those tomatoes. I thought they were the worst thing in the world. I moved to Baltimore, and I hated them as a kid.
Sure.
Just the whole idea of them. And I've been to the Eastern Shore many times as a child, just never had those tomatoes before.
Yeah.
They are a delicacy over there. That's one of the most prominent food things in Maryland. Crabs and then maybe that, to be honest with you.
Sure, but they spice it up right.
They were so good. I was like,
really
man,
are.
If you go to,
I'm missing it,
Right, so Jerry's Seafood in Prince George's County, it's the most expensive restaurant in the county. I don't know if it still is. It was growing up.
Right.
But they're famous. Their crab cake, they call it the Crab Bomb. Right? Anybody in the D.C. area, you went to Jerry's Seafood.
Right.
The second most famous thing on their menu is their stewed tomatoes.
Yeah, and they're delicious. You would never order them if you did not know how good they were. Until you tried someone else's.
Right.
Then you're
going to try, but you're right. You tried someone else's first. You would not dream of ordering like stewed tomatoes.
Seriously, dude, you got to try this. That's kind of how it went down with me. Yeah. You really need to just try it. Like, I like tomatoes, but I don't like. Oh my God! What is a meal that traumatized you as a kid? 206-803-ROCK.
Hello, Beth. Welcome to the men's room.
Well, hello.
Hola.
Awesome. I was traumatized by liver and onions.
Yeah,
I think everybody is.
Oh, we would have to eat it. We would drown it in ketchup and tears and gagging, and we had to eat it. And then canned peas.
Oh. God.
Yeah, that's real bad.
That's
I do remember this. The first thing I did was I would go upstairs, and I'm not making this up. I would close my bedroom door, and I would go into the bathroom, which was outside in the hallway, and I'd grab my bath towel, and I would stuff it underneath the door.
So you didn't have to smell it.
I did not want the smell of liver and onions in my room.
That's what I remember. My dad would eat it. My mom wouldn't make us eat it, but that smell was so awful.
I just want to throw this out there again for parents listening. Like, look, you might love liver and onions. Delicacy. Just understand that the rest of your family doesn't want to eat it. Like I said, my dad ate sardines all the time. I don't mind sardines now, but as a kid, he'd eat sardines all the time. He wouldn't even offer them to anyone else. He did not make us eat them.
What is the
so
best
it didn't
tasting
matter.
organ? Is it
Maybe
intestine?
the heart?
Is it intestine?
I'll be honest with you. I'm not a fan of organ.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like, is there something like certain cultures eat brain of animals?
Well, no, it depends, right? Because you can have foie gras, right, which is goose liver.
Oh, liver.
Goose liver. And
all right, I've had foie gras.
But that said, it depends how you get it. So I worked at a place where we did it, but it was grilled, and it was pretty damn good. I have had foie gras and pate that's still from a goose, and it was not grilled, and it tasted like really expensive Spam. You know what I mean? Like if Spam said, hey, this is premium stuff, and charge you $8 more a can. And you go, okay. Yeah. So, but I guess... So even with that,
well, I don't like pork belly. It's not crunchy. I hate it when they don't do that to it. That aspect.
Agreed.
It's the same kind of.
Then it's just this.
You can't chew through it.
It's
fat.
That was the first time I tried pork belly. It came out like that, and I'm like, "What is this rubbery ass?"
It's like when you get to calamari and they didn't bread it. You're like, "Oh God," like the Italian way.
Boy, that pissed me off. By the way, on that note, all right, I like bagels. Okay, and maybe this is just me. I will not say what particular chain this was. I go in and I order a bagel sandwich, which is no big deal. I think I just got the standard, smoked salmon, cream cheese, on an everything bagel. It's basic as it gets. And then they give it to me. Yes, Mike. And they give it to me, which I appreciate. And I walk into work and I realize they have not toasted it. Oh. So, now granted, I did not ask that they do, nor did they ask me, but my general thought on this is kind of like, if somebody orders pasta, like their kid just wants pasta, I assume they're going to boil it. I'd never think to have to say, hey, make sure you cook it first. So when it comes to bagels, some people will get raw bagels, but I don't know anyone that orders a bagel sandwich and doesn't want it
especially when the name
toasted.
Dictates intelligence.
Right. So they handed this to me, and I'm like, you've got to be kidding me.
What was on the sandwich?
I got cream cheese and smoked salmon. I mean, that's
but
pretty
they
much
didn't toast the bagel.
They didn't toast the bagel. And I'm like, who orders a bagel sandwich? And look,
I do. Like, I don't, to me, you have to say, like, I always thought you had to say toasted, because I'll just get, like, a bagel sandwich. I don't mind eating just the bagel.
Huh.
But see,
if we got a bag of bagels as a kid, that you just got cream cheese and a bag of bagels.
Yeah, but I would still toast the bagel. But if you don't, and that's what I said. I understand there's people that will eat the raw bagel, but I just feel like, man, if I'm working in that particular place and someone orders a bagel sandwich, I would at least ask, do you want it toasted? That just seems unusual to me. And it was gross. It was awful.
What is the meal that traumatized you as a kid? 206-803-ROCK.
Einstein Brothers. Hello, Ray. Welcome to the men's room.
Hola.
Hola.
Hey, guys. So, green peas. All right?
Yep.
So, I was spending the night at a buddy's house. I was maybe 7 years old, and, the side was green peas. And I had a mouthful of them when somebody said something funny, and I laughed. And I kid you not, I had peas stuck in my nasal cavity for, 8-9 days, and they putrefied up there.
Oh.
And it was the worst smelling thing. It was 30 years before I could eat peas again.
They're still not the best.
That's the thing. Why did you even go back to them? I mean, it's 30 years, but in the end, they're still peas.
They're still peas, but see, the thing is, my wife grew a nice garden and grew the peas, and so we shelled them and she cooked them up, and they were delicious. And today I love peas, but man, I tell you, that was excruciating.
So, how long did you smell these peas in your nose? Could you smell them for all 8 or 9 days, or was it like maybe day 5 they start turning?
Yeah, starting around day 4 or 5, you can start to smell it as they rotted, and then the grossest part is maybe around day 8 or 9, 10. This lump of slime went down the back of my throat and gagged me, and that was foul.
What we've learned here is don't laugh with peas in your mouth. Jesus. God, that was gross, man.
Who Sucks Less is on the way along with your emails from the men's room at KISW.com next.
Are you dealing with a personal injury? Don't go it alone. Turn to the experienced team at Phillips Law Firm. Their attorneys have helped thousands of clients get the compensation they deserve. Call Phillips Law Firm now. Call 1-800-JUSTICE or visit justiceforyou.com.
Hey there, everybody. I'm Melvin Robert from the TV show Extra. Every day on our show, we talk to the biggest celebrities and the biggest newsmakers around. We get exclusive details about hookups and breakups, baby news, and the behind-the-scenes info from your favorite TV shows and movies. But we can only fit so much on our show. That's where Extra the podcast comes in. Listen and follow Extra the podcast and Odyssey Podcast on the Odyssey app or wherever you get your podcast.
What's up? It's your boy, the Ted Smith from the Men's Room. And did you know I have a podcast? Well, I do. The Podcast. New episodes uploaded every Wednesday on the Odyssey app.
The debauchery rolls on. You're listening to the Men's Room with Miles and Thrill. 99.9 KISW.
Who Sucks Less is coming up, a first time for a few emails from the Men's Room at KISW.com.
You've got mail.
You've got mail. A couple from our question, what meal traumatized you? Gentlemen, my grandma's tripe. No thank you. I did not get far with that. That from Jerry. Tripe again is intestine?
Yeah.
Stomach, like sheep stomach.
Okay. Something like that.
I would give it a go because I liked haggis.
You did like haggis, so what?
And then again, I was in Scotland. That was part of a plate. The haggis by itself was fine, but having the mashed potatoes there next to it made it good. I would try tripe.
Okay.
I would try anything.
Grandma's tripe.
I'll give it a try.
Would you go to a restaurant called Grandma's Tripe?
No. Macholos, regarding foods that scarred me as a child, hot dogs. As a child, my grandmother lived with me and my mother and would do most of the cooking. To say that she was a horrible cook would be an understatement. However, the way that she would boil hot dogs, along with making liver and onions for herself at the same time, was just nasty. Oh, no. So when I moved here to Seattle from Maryland, I was introduced to the cream cheese hot dog. While kind of a little tepid at first, I did try it. Game changer. Rock on, guys. That from Charles. Agree with that statement completely.
I still have a soft spot for a boiled hot dog sometimes.
Yeah.
I could do boiled, I guess. Yeah.
Well, you can boil it and then do what they do in Seattle. You can split it and throw it on the grill. Or you can just put it on the grill as it is.
I'm not cooking that thing twice.
Well, you
can cook one hot dog.
Right?
Yeah. I mean, let's face it. I mean, the water's not seeping in and making the hot dog any juicier.
No, it's really not.
So, like, good for the guy working the cart. I love they do it.
Well, it just keeps them warm, keeps them quick. It's taking them faster. But
I'm just not doing that.
On to the birthday shout-outs, guys. I want to wish my big brother a very happy 35th birthday from up in Alaska. This man has been through a rough year with his health, followed by a difficult road to sobriety, but he deserves all the best in life. I love you so much, Chief. Can we get an original fish sandwich? And your penis is too small for the big guy. Thanks, guys. That from Olivia.
2 Oregon fish sandwich.
And boom, bitches, today's my 40th trip on this amazing Blue Marble. I thought long and hard about the email request. I would love it if you could have your listeners visit my Instagram, Mr. Sinister83, as I'm building an Etsy store. Have you ever ordered anything from Etsy before?
Yes.
I have too. Yeah. They send you tons of emails.
Yeah.
So just know that. If you buy something from Etsy, you're going to get flooded. But either way, that's how I get my pepperoni rolls now.
Really?
Delivered through Etsy.
I get phone reminders both from Etsy and a place called Spoonflower. Because my wife goes to Etsy and Spoonflower, and I'm like, why is this tied to my account?
Yeah, let's see here. I'm doing sweatshirts, guys, and donating 9.99% of my earnings between 3 different charities indefinitely.
Nice.
Lots of love there from Mr. Sinister. Give me your penis is too small, since he's... Hello, Mike.
Mr.
Hawk.
Sinister. Well, I'm donating. I'm like, all right, Mr. Sinister. I'm not sure you are that sinister.
He didn't say what the charities are.
Sure.
Right.
The
goes to the devil.
The Anton LaVey Fund. Hello, Mike Hawk, Miles, Thrill, and the Ted. It's my beautiful Islamic terrorist 46th birthday. She's very sexy. She has a lucky streak of 20-something hit on her lately men.
Wow.
So with that, can I get your penis is too small? The he says Beagle guy saying you're not my dad or my boss.
Beagle.
The dirty Germans telling her what they're going to do to her like some 20-something males would say. Love you so much, Amber. You're my world, and I'm glad I'm getting old and your new hip is good. Lots of love that from Gust, Gordo, Stella, Teddy Four Paws, and the kids. P.S. guys, you make me laugh, and we need that lately. So please keep all of Washington laughing, and know you have fans for life. Appreciate it.
Not God or my father or my boss.
Yeah, this is the thing about saying, what would we do like the 20-year-olds? See, I remember being in my 20s. What we said we were going to do to you is very different than what we did. We lasted for 2 minutes, said, ooh, thank you, and waited for you to leave. However, for your birthday, what I would do is break your new hip.
Yeah, so the funny thing is certain techniques I use in the downtown district, you would describe them as busing, and that's no cap.
Wow.
Isn't that what she meant? Oh, is that not what he meant? Like 20-something males?
You're thinking the number of guys.
No, I'm just thinking about terms. I wasn't thinking about the Germans being 20. That's why I use busing and no cap. I mean, it just hits different.
And dear Men's Room, today is a banner day in the life of my dear old mother. She, like you, Miles, goes by her middle name. No, hers is not Miles. It's Elaine. Well, Elaine just turned to banner age. She is 80 years old today. A new label for her, an octogenarian. She was known affectionately to my friends growing up as the librarian. She had to deal with 4 men in the house and then her kids and husband. I kid. She is a grand old lady like the Queen Victoria too. Can I get a cat fart? With the old lady, an oh dear Jesus, and Miles giving her some inspiration on her monumental day. I'd appreciate it, guys. That from VD.
Oh my gosh.
Okay, Elaine, I know that your wonderful son, VD, has flown back to Chicago to spend your 80th birthday with you.
Oh, dear Jesus.
Yes. So if you could, do us all a favor. Make one of his favorite delicious foods. Maybe a Chicago dog with an all-beef frank. Or Italian beef with beef. Or a deep dish pizza covered in sausage, pepperoni, and all the goodness. And then at the very end, for all of us, please cover that whole thing in cyanide. What, too rough?
No, not at all.
Damn! Cyanide part is a little rough. Yeah, we could use his muzzle as the meat. It's a deep dish German pizza.
Yeah, she wants deep dish. You're speaking to the right people.
All right, guys, here you go.
Happy, happy, happy birthday. Happy, happy, happy birthday. Happy, happy, happy birthday to you, to you, to you.
Ja, the Dirty Germans, brought to you by Men's Room Original Sausage. Available through Uli's World Famous Sausage, mensroomlive.com, and other fine retailers. Schweinefly.
Think about a couple extra emails. Hola, compadres. Catching up with you guys on the Odyssey app. The Odyssey. I'm in law enforcement in the corrections field. Before this job, I was a very skeptical person. Now, I believe in the full moon effects on people. We usually have crazy busy days when it's always a full moon. Oftentimes, we end up fighting naked people. Good times. That from Beto, who knows probably what he's talking about.
Like we were saying yesterday, I feel like any law enforcement I've ever talked to is like full moon is real.
Yeah,
and people get naked. And like I said, it's not like the crimes they commit are worse. The crimes they commit seem dumber.
All right.
Yeah.
What got hit or what did you hit? This question has made my husband count his hits. We are listening to you guys on the Odyssey app, trying to catch up. He has hit a deer, a cat, a barn owl, little birds, a few chipmunks, a land otter, and a crow in Mexico.
A land otter?
What's a land otter?
An otter that lives on land, too.
Yeah, not in the water.
But otters always go back to the water. I mean, they're otters.
No, that one didn't, because
this one lives in
Kansas.
Yeah.
Well, yeah.
It was trying to get to the water till her husband killed it. Yeah.
Or is that a term for another animal we don't know?
Not sure. What I didn't hit, Bitchola's catching up on the podcast, had to chime in. I was making the trek with some friends over to Spokane for a concert. Typical freeway stuff, going freeway speeds, going about 67. Luckily, one of my friends was able to point out that there was a full-size mattress in the middle of the lane. Going as fast as I was, it would not have ended well if I hit it. I was able to get out of the way, switch lanes, and go around it. But I did see someone on the shoulder outside his car staring this mattress down with a pained look on his face. He was trying to figure out how the hell he was going to get it during the mad rush hour of traffic at freeway speeds. Cheers, guys. Thanks for the laughs. You guys are the best to do it on the best rock station ever, and keep up the great work. That from Scott.
What would be the protocol on that? Your mattress blows out of the back of your truck. You pulled over. It's rush hour.
Yeah. I mean, technically, you need to get that damn thing off the road and not die.
Exactly.
They say secure the load. That's the most important thing.
You're going to get a ticket because you didn't secure your load.
That's probably why I wanted to get the mattress.
That's why I get a ticket every time I have sex.
I was fighting. I was like, don't make a sex joke.
Come on, man.
Trojan condoms remind you, secure
your load. That's right. And one more. This is more on a serious tip, but this is from our buddy Melissa. Guys, I just want to say thank you. It's been a tough several days here in Maui, and it probably will be for the foreseeable future. Amid running around shelters to help with sorts of donations and tracking down missing relatives and going west to deliver supplies, your show is really helping lift my spirits in the lows to lows. From the bottom of my heart, thank you guys. It's from our buddy Melissa.
I can't even imagine what it's like over there right now.
I cannot either. That is absolutely horrible, and it gets worse by the day. All right, let's see here. Coming up, we will drink and toast with a shot of the day, but first.
Now, the men's room wants to know who sucks less?
Hey, time for Who Sucks Less. Stephen Thrill-Hill, you bring us 3 stories from the news each and every week. They all suck. It is up to us to determine, out of the 3 stories, which one sucks the least. Now, if you happen to follow KISW on Twitter and on Facebook, the debate is already underway on Who Sucks Less.
Yes, indeed. Like you said, we have 3 stories today. Each one kind of has its own theme. The first story, make sure you have the right address, depending on what it is you want to do. The second one, make sure you read the fine print. And finally, make sure you and your coworkers communicate clearly so that your job can be executed without anyone getting hurt. But let us start with, hey, make sure you get the right address. We go to Atlanta for this story, where the city of Atlanta demolished a man's home. All right. Now they're trying to foreclose on the property to pay for the $68,000 in demolition costs. The whole time, the man whose house that got knocked down said the paperwork had the wrong address on it. Homeowner Everett Tripodis, he says, quote, I'm not going to let the city take this from me. I'm going to fight them tooth and nail. It's just an empty lot now, but the city demolished his Atlanta house. Now, Tripodis, he's been served with a lawsuit from the city of Atlanta saying they intend to foreclose and take the property. Quote, when I saw that came from the city, I was quite excited. Maybe it was a letter of apology. Maybe it was a check. Maybe they're going to justly compensate me. I opened it up and realized they're suing me. So it first reported this back in March. Before tearing down the house, the city sent its notice that a city inspector found the house unfit for habitation, but he wrote down the wrong address. Certified letters were sent out, were all returned to sender. So the city demolishes this guy's house because they had the wrong address, and now they're suing him for the $68,000 that it cost them to knock down the wrong house. Let that sink in. Understandably,
I don't think they're going to win that one.
He's kind of pissed. Now, this one you've probably heard about. It's making all the rounds right now. Michael Orr, that would be the retired NFL player whose life story was depicted in the movie The Blind Side. Well, he's suing the family that took him in. He's claiming that they used him. Now, Orr claims that he recently found out that Sean and Leanne Toohey never adopted him like they claimed they did. Instead, they tricked them into signing documents, making them his conservators, all right? But at the time they gave him the paperwork, they said, we're going to make the adoption official. Now, keep in mind, as their conservators, Orr claims they deprived him of the rights to his name, image, and likeness. Now, their conservatorship gave them the authority to handle all of his financial and legal affairs. If they adopted him, he would have actually retained those rights. They also made millions off the movie, along with their 2 kids, while Orr, he got nothing. So he wants the court to terminate the conservatorship and first the Tooheys to forfeit all the money they made off the rights to his name and his story. His lawsuit says, quote, where other parents of Michael's classmates saw Michael simply as a nice kid in need, the conservators Sean Toohey and Leanne Toohey saw something else, a gullible young man whose athletic talent can be exploited for their own benefit. He played in the NFL from 2009 to 2016, and he's actually always hated the movie The Blind Side. I've heard this because he said, it makes him look stupid. And Ted, you said this guy in real life, basically, he was on the dean's list
at Ole Miss.
At Ole Miss for whatever.
Right, and they have all the football players get the same degrees. It's easy. He transferred to degrees, and still made the dean's list.
Right, but in the movie, he's just as big a literal goof, right? And
yes.
Look, all that said, it was a good movie. It's just now that you hear the story, you're like, oh man, that's pretty bad. And then finally, we go to Ohio, where an investigation is underway into police treatment of an unarmed black man after a traffic stop. And this one involves the police dog. But it's not quite as racist as the clickbait headline would entail. So the dog was ordered to attack a man who was on his knees and surrendering with his hands up. And the attack came after police near the Circleville, Ohio, pulled over a semi-truck following a 25-minute chase that began on US 35 over a missing mud flap. He had a missing mud flap and got into a goddamn high-speed chase with cops. Anyway, the driver, identified as 23-year-old Jadarius Rose, he's outside of his truck after being pulled over with his hands up. The handler of the police dog from the police department initially holds his dog back, but then releases him, even as troopers were shouting for him not to do so. But it appears that the canine handler was telling Rose to get on the ground. The other troopers were telling him to walk around to them. So they say the man, apparently confused by who to listen to, pointed the dog, points to the troopers, each giving conflicting orders. But he's on his knees with his hands up, and that's when the guy lets go of the dog and then attacks him. It says the troopers were attempting to gain compliance by providing verbal commands to the suspect. The police department deployed their canine, which resulted in the suspect being bitten by the canine. Officers got the dog off of him. He was treated and released from a hospital before he charged with a felony, failure to comply, etc., etc. Now, the union representing the police officers asked that everyone reserve judgment as the investigation unfolds. So essentially what happened was two different groups of cops were telling this guy to... So that's why he pointed at the dog to say, am I supposed to listen to you? Then pointed at the other cops, or do I listen to you? And somehow it all got tangled up. So the guy let go of the dog. He's downright. He got mauled.
I mean, sadly, that has happened in a few cases.
It has, and it's just, right, there was conflicting orders. You know, either you stand up like they asked you to walk toward them, or you stay down on your knees where you're already at. But each set of officers was telling them a different thing.
Right, and I don't know police protocol, but I just know if you got four people yelling at you, it's like, wait, just one of you.
Right, just what do you need me to do? So, once again, we have the guy in Atlanta who's being sued by the city of Atlanta for $68,000 because that's how much it costs the city to wrongfully demolish
That guy
his
doesn't
house.
have a house now.
He does not, and he's being sued. You have Michael Orr, who, if this is true, he was never actually adopted by the lovely, wonderful Tuohys. Instead, he signed over all of his rights so that they could make the money. And finally, the cop that let go of the dog.
Man, this is tough.
So our buddy Sal, and I kind of agree with him. He said the Ohio officer sucks the least. And like you said, they're both yelling stuff. He said the dude that got bit will take a bite from the police department's future budget.
Probably, yeah.
With Michael Orr, he had a successful NFL career. He made millions of dollars. He was depicted in a movie a while ago that was a false depiction of him.
Sure.
He's known that for a long time.
Right.
He's probably known that family took advantage of him from a monetary standpoint for a long time.
Since the movie came out.
If all those things are true, then he probably has a lawsuit against that family.
Mm-hmm.
He has some legal action against the family. But he's already in a good place.
Because he signed. Here's the problem that he has, though. He signed the paperwork that was for they lied about what the paperwork was for. But once you put the signature, on that bad boy, like, you signed this away. It sucks. I do not like them. But.
Man, out of all these, he's a whiz.
I think I might have confused some of the folks online, too. Michael Orr is not in contention for who sucks less here. It's the family, the Tuohys.
The Tuohys.
Him suing the family is not something that sucks right now.
I hate Mike. He sucks the most. No.
To be honest with you, man, in this situation, I think the guy in Atlanta who lost his house, that sucks the most. Just based on the fact that he's going to have to hire an attorney. He also doesn't have a place to live right now.
Yeah.
They demolished his house. They want $60,000 from him. They need to give him $67,000, build his damn house back.
That's what he thought was in the envelope.
In the meantime, he still doesn't have a place to live. You just don't build a house in 2 months.
Right.
There's a lot that goes into that.
I mean, if what Michael, I'm only saying this because who knows? You got to go to court. But I do believe him. But also, I've heard some of the other family members, not just the parents, were getting residuals.
Right.
So that sucks pretty bad. Honestly, I'm going to take, as bad as it's brutal, the guy got bit by a police dog. I think the officer who sent the police dog sucks the least in this case.
I'm inclined to agree, and I rarely would say that.
Also, the officers were there to be able to hopefully disengage that dog quickly.
They got the dog off of him pretty quick.
Bit by a dog. It's not fun, but
those dogs,
German Shepherd,
it's a little bit of hell.
Trained,
right? An attacked German Shepherd.
No, I got bit by a Chihuahua.
Come on,
it was painful.
Yeah, well,
I know.
I mean, it's got teeth, bro. Come on,
the German Shepherd's got bigger teeth.
Are you gonna tell that guy? You're next to this guy in jail, and you tell him, "I got attacked by a dog too." It was a Chihuahua.
Give me your arm for a minute. Now, if I go like this, right?
Yeah,
it hurts.
that's it.
If I get right in like that, sir. It was a tiny. You know what I mean?
This guy got attacked by a tiger. Hey, man, I know what you mean.
It was just a bite.
Gomez, my cat, was bit me in the nose.
It was a tiny little mouth, man, but that thing was painful. It was painful.
Miles, you kind of like a rich celebrity during the pandemic. Yeah. We are not all in the same size boat.
That guy was mean. He was mean.
Got bit by a Chihuahua once.
Golly.
Ugly son of a bitch.
I had no idea that would hurt that bad.
It's got teeth.
I know that, but they're little tiny, they're just sharp little tiny teeth.
You know why? You know why the cops don't have Chihuahuas for the canine?
They should. They damn should.
Don't make me let go of the dog. I'm like, bro, you got a chihuahua. You can let go of it.
Debate continues on Who Sucks Less. If you happen to follow KISW on Twitter and on Facebook. Shot of the Day's coming up. You are listening to The Men's Room.
99.9 KISW. The shenanigans continue. This is The Men's Room with Miles and Thrill.
Couple of minutes, we'll drink and toast for the Shot of the Day. And we do have your headlines on the way at 5:50. But first, quick check-in with Mike Hawk and some of the stories and headlines he is not working on.
All right, 63% of Gen Z feels too much pressure to change the world. Also, it's too early for you to change the world.
Look, man, every generation goes through that. Everybody wants to change the world, but you're under no pressure to do so. No one's counting on you to do it.
Correct.
I mean, you do it a little bit that you can. That thing that you do that is good for the world, do that.
But I also do believe that at some point, you as a collective generation, you're now in charge.
For sure. But they're not there yet.
Other than today, like the boomer generation is still clutching onto control on the top side. So
yeah, you know what? That's a good point.
It might actually skip your guys' generation, just go straight to the millennials.
I mean, and also, like, I don't think of a lot of people in my mind I think have changed the world. I don't think that's the goal. The goal is some type of leadership or some invention. You know what I mean?
Sure.
I don't know how they're already feeling pressure to change the world.
Right. Take it easy, guys. Go.
Don't put pressure on yourself.
Go get a degree first. Get a house.
Just be a decent person.
Right. Just do your best, man.
Be a good neighbor. Or be a really bad neighbor. Either way, it changes things.
Be the best person that you can be.
Do you want to change the world for good or bad?
Right. 53% of parents say back to school is the most stressful time of year. And this is parents with kids that are 18 and under.
What?
Back to school is the most stressful
it
time
is
of the year.
for a hot second. Just in the sense of you need to recalibrate your kids' brains. It's like your kids have been retired for 3 months.
Sure.
And they really enjoy their retirement. A great, great deal. And you tell them, hey, man, get back on the schedule. We got to start back up at the homework. But that stress me lasts about 2 weeks, and then they fall back into the routine.
Right.
And inevitably, the stress is on them. So I'm like, that's not my homework. Mm-hmm. I could help you.
Yeah.
But I'm not going to.
Let them stress it out. Don't let them relax right now. Man, life's easy for you. Stress them out.
Mm-hmm.
No.
I agree.
That used to be my mom's thing. Bus leaves at 8 o'clock in the morning.
Yeah, that's it.
If you're not on it, you best put on some good shoes. I like it. Some self-driving cars are actually causing more traffic. So that was the whole thing with the self-driving cars. It was going to alleviate traffic because it was going to take out the human error. I'll defend that a little bit by saying not everything's a self-driving car right now, but it is saying that the self-driving cars, to some degree, some are actually causing more traffic than they're saving.
Because they still have to deal with human beings driving.
Yeah.
So whatever it is that it would like to anticipate doing, it doesn't mean the people driving around you are going to allow you to do.
Correct. Because you got to know that the number one thing that they're going to program into that is safety, not traffic efficiency.
Correct.
So if you, as a human driver, are going to make possibly a somewhat unsafe jump into traffic, you're going to beat the gap, whatever it is, the computer in there is going to prioritize keeping that rider safe.
That's not going to happen. Right.
So yes, while a human rider would not have jammed on their brakes like that AI driver did, it's still your fault, buddy.
Yeah, that's it.
And that's hoping it does.
Correct.
Right, if it works properly.
Yeah.
Right. If everything works properly, safety's first.
Right.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. That still creeps me out. It's like, well, most people are very good drivers, but like every once in a while, somebody royally messes up and just misses a light.
Yep.
Yes.
Bad things happen.
Dude, I almost got destroyed last month because somebody just blew through a four-way stop.
I almost got destroyed because someone blew through a circle in Tacoma.
Oh, God.
I mean, I'm in the circle, and they just blew right through, right in front of me, missed my car by like 2 feet.
Jeez.
She didn't even notice. I was like, wow, you're in a neighborhood and you blew through a circle.
I had a guy almost run me off the freeway. It just merged right over into my lane.
To be fair, Mike, I was trying to drive you off the road.
You know what? That's fair. But why didn't you look at me when I laid on the horn? He didn't.
I didn't hear you.
I laid on that thing, and he just kept on driving.
Well, yeah, I mean, when you're flipping you off and driving past you, it's hard to look at you.
I don't want to lock eyes with you. Damn. As we grow up, we are told different things that as we get older and develop, we learn that, you know what, that was more superstition and wives' tale rather than actual fact. So let's go through the list.
The Men's Room Top 10. The Men's Room Top 10.
10 old wives' tales our families swore by, and some that were actually true. I tried using an old wives' tale to get dates. It was the one that if your nose was itching, it meant you were going to kiss a fool. I guess the joke was on me since I never got a kiss from a woman with an itchy nose, no matter how hard I tried. I suppose there is a bright side. I guess they didn't think I was a fool. Great. Still didn't get a kiss. Stupid old wives, what do they know?
Thank you, BD. Old wives' tales that our family swore by. I'll see if I can start these. You guys know where we're going. This is more having to do with the sun coming up. Anybody know what red sky at night means?
Sailor's delight.
Red sky in the morning.
Sailor's warning.
Sailors take warning. Correct. The old saying about predicting the weather has some truth to it. A red sky at night often indicates high pressure and stable air coming from the west, meaning good weather will follow. A red sky in the morning, however, means that the sun is shining through rain in the west, suggesting that bad weather will soon arrive. At the end of the day, weather's going to be what weather's going to be.
That is correct. I wish our meteorologists do that. And now we have Ted Smith with our Channel 15 weather. Weather gonna be what weather gonna be. Back to you.
Right.
Step outside.
Today, weather gonna be hot.
Like
tomorrow it might be wet.
Like Ollie Williams from Family Guy. It's gonna rain. That was one of my favorite bits. I loved Ollie.
That's really all they need to say.
Right.
I mean, and I get it. That's their moment to shine. They're meteorologists, so they're real excited to share the science because we got the winds going here. You know, there's a reason why they show you the 5-day forecast at the end of that. Because if they did it at the beginning, they know damn well we would tune out.
Exactly.
Like, right, you're having your nerd moment, I get it, but it's going to rain.
It's going to rain.
It's going to be hot.
I mean, look, you know me. I'm a weather nerd.
We know.
So I like it when they explain when the little break in the action will be. But nowadays, I have friends, and they're like, how'd you know it's going to rain? I'm like, it's 2023.
It's on your phone.
How are we not checking the weather?
If there's a picture of cows laying down, you know it's going to rain.
And I got to back off it, but it bugs me. Like, you didn't bring a hoodie?
You know what? I'm guilty of that. I never look at the weather. I assume it's August. I'm going to hedge my bets that it's going to be nice and hot outside.
I've already checked it 5 times today.
The weather?
All the time.
How much has it changed?
Theweather.com is my favorite app.
Okay. Has anything changed?
No, but like, look, last Saturday or Seafair Saturday, I wouldn't have known to bring a shirt if I hadn't checked the weather before I went to bed Friday.
That's fair.
Old wives' tales our family swore by. Step on a crack.
Break your mother's back.
Break your mama's back.
I
what
tried.
do you know? There is no fact to that whatsoever.
Well, I don't know that I ever believed that once I wasn't a kid.
Yeah, but doggone it, man, you avoided cracks at all costs when you were a kid.
We did, and we yelled at each other a lot about it. You broke Bob's back.
Damn it, Joey. Let's see. Eating spinach will make you strong.
I blame that on Popeye.
It is 100%
that's
Popeye.
I mean, it makes you healthier.
It's not the worst thing you can eat.
No, it's not bad to eat, but and wasn't Popeye basically just like a PR campaign for the spinach
I think he
growers?
was for canned spinach.
Exactly. For canned spinach.
Yeah, dude. Because like I said, when you watched it, you never saw him go to like a spinach patch.
No, he was never grabbing like the tongs and putting spinach on a plate.
Nasty ass. And also Popeye, it's weird that you carried a can of spinach around in your pocket.
Oh yeah,
and people got weird things.
Always on the ready.
Yeah,
never a can opener.
Right, he's ready
That's
to go.
True.
He's
ready.
popped it right now.
Oh yeah.
Do you need to eat spinach to get stronger if you can just squeeze the can and blow the spinach out in the first place? I'm like, bro, you got some good hand grip. Don't worry about it.
He's going Super Saiyan with that, man.
Oh yeah.
Old wives' tales that our family swore by. Breaking a mirror, bringing
7 years of bad luck.
7 years of bad luck. Superstition's been around for ages. While breaking a mirror might be unfortunate, there's no concrete evidence of the prolonged bad luck. However, I, yet again as a kid, swore by that. If anything,
I still do.
If anything bad happened to me, I was like, man, it's about 6 years off that one at this point. So like, wow, I'm almost there.
Yeah, I dropped a mirror in my house the other day, and thank God it didn't break. I guess it doesn't matter, but that's what I thought.
Thank God.
I know, that's
where your mind goes. Oh, God. Heartburn during pregnancy. Anybody know what that one means?
I mean, is it
You're gonna have
gender?
You're gonna have a boy.
A baby with lots of hair.
Oh.
Some studies suggest that there might be a correlation between heartburn severity during pregnancy and newborn hairness, but roll the dice.
You got heartburn? Oh, you're going to have you a hairy child. hairy hair. You got a little monkey in your belly, mama. Oh, no. Oh, you have sex with King Kong? Your fuzzy baby? And your heartburn? I'm going to start doing that now.
A lot of babies are born covered in hair, though, man. That's not unusual.
I was definitely covered in hair, man. My mother
looked
had
a little
said,
Bigfoot.
When my father walked into the room, because the dude couldn't be in the room back in the day, and granted, they already had an older kid, so the excitement of it had kind of worn off. But my mom said, my father opens the door, let me see my baby boy. She holds him up, and his response was, ooh. Like, cool.
Dang.
That's great.
It's a baby.
Back to pregnancy, the position of where the baby is carried.
Hey, baby.
Hey, Barry. Where the baby is carried. Do you guys know how that one goes? Carrying high versus carrying low.
If it's low, it's a girl?
Boy.
Oh,
Carrying
damn it.
low means it's a boy. Carrying high means it's a
big
girl.
ass.
It says, while a popular belief the baby's position isn't a reliable gender predictor, only medical methods or waiting for the birth can tell for sure. However, it's another one of those, kind of like the full moon. You can't quite explain it. However, I think if you would look at the statistics, like, you got a better shot if he's hanging lower that's a boy.
Oh, you got heartburn and carrying. You got a hairy little boy in your belly.
That was part of part of what my wife used as kind of the barometer of what my sister was having.
Really?
Oh yeah, she was like, she's carrying low. That's definitely a boy. And then bam, there's my nephew. Nope, this one's higher. This one's higher.
I mean, some of those things, right? Like,
his daddy's got some good hair, so.
You got an acid reflux. Name him Curious George.
Oh, geez. Old wives' tales our family swore by. Don't go outside with wet hair.
Because you'll catch a cold.
Catching a cold. They're caused by viruses, not cold weather or wet hair. However, it's still more comfortable to step out with a dry head.
But see, that's the thing. When you try to tell kids to do something that will benefit them for a comfort thing,
correct,
they give you pushback. If you say things like, if you don't do this, you'll die, then they do it.
Never in my life have I left the house to start my day without wet hair. From the time that I've been a kid.
Right.
It's the last thing you do. You're leaving. You need to get out of the house. Yes, I don't blow dry my hair.
But no, see, they only tell you that
Run a towel through
if you're going to go out on your own, right?
Still damp.
So on the weekend, Miles, you will die or catch a cold if you go out with wet hair. When your parents are in a hurry trying to get your ass to school, no, you're fine. You're fine. You're fine.
Right.
Only
Saturday
easier
and
for little
Sunday.
boys, too. Like, even when I had hair, it didn't take that long to dry.
True.
Little girls have a lot of hair.
You bet, dude. Hell yeah.
That's why they take 2 towels. Hate that, especially in a hotel.
Did
you use 2 towels? Well, one for my hair, one for my body.
God damn it.
Do you guys know what eating bread crusts will do for you?
Turn you into a pigeon, a duck.
I don't know.
No, it makes your hair curly, Ted.
Oh.
Eating bread crust will make your hair curly.
Yeah. Well, a fun notion, there's no scientific evidence linking crust consumption to curly locks.
You don't say.
But, yeah, apparently that was an old one. Eating bread crusts make your hair curly. Why should you never pull a gray hair?
I don't know. 3 more will grow in.
2 more will grow
2
back,
more.
but you're close enough. This tale has caused many to resist the urge to pluck. Fortunately, it's a myth. Plucking 1 gray hair won't result in more. However, if you pluck 2, that'll get the 2 growing out there. Because mine has already started that. That's the whole thing. Once you get gray hair, it's downhill.
No, you're not going to stop it.
No.
Yeah, I mean, it's not like it's going to reverse.
Yeah, and it's hard to notice how many of them are showing in until you look at an old picture.
No kidding, dude.
My kids,
freaking kidding.
like 2 weeks ago, looking at a picture, like when they were babies, and the thing I heard was, your beard was black? Yes, it has not always been
Still
gray.
got some black in it, man.
It has some. It has some.
It has gone from it has some gray to it has some black.
I know but that's exactly it, right? Now it's like, oh, it still has some black in it. Not like, oh, you have a little gray. They're like, ooh, you have a little black.
Right.
Yeah, and I've learned recently there's kits you can buy where, like, it won't turn it jet black. It'll just get it a little
Oh, the
darker.
stuff you comb in.
Yeah, I'm like, I'm not against that.
Yeah. You guys ever plucked one that's in transition? That's a trip, dude.
Correct. Like, I have way too many grays in my beard now, but when they first started, we just pluck them.
You bet. And all of a sudden you get that one that's still got a good amount of red there at the base of it.
Now my whole face is white.
If you grow it in, it's all white.
Completely.
Really?
Yeah.
Come on, man. You got to. Like, come on, man. For the holidays.
Movember.
For the holidays. Come on.
Well, yeah, my mustache isn't as gray as the rest of the hair.
Or how about
Why don't you have gray hair on your hair, though?
I do. It's up there.
He combs it out.
That's not fair.
He's using the stuff.
How about this? You don't have to grow the full facial hair, but just do a neck beard. A white neck beard.
I could do that.
Yeah.
I could definitely do that.
A neck beard.
Yeah, just a...
Oh, God.
Hey, Fred Durst is out there rocking it.
Fair.
Yeah.
But the number one old wives' tale that our family swore by is the number one cure for the common cold. What do you eat?
Chicken soup.
Chicken soup all day, baby. Many of us were served a hot bowl of chicken soup when we were under the weather. Where it might not be a cure, the warm soup can indeed provide relief from cold symptoms. For us, it was either Gatorade or 7-Up, man.
Well, you got to stay hydrated, but chicken soup is always in there. Hell, I still do it to this day.
Why not?
If I'm sick, I will go home and cook chicken soup.
It's almost like a comfort food now.
Hell yeah. A man over in the UK had his phone ringing off the hook, and he's finally figured out why.
Why is that?
I got a feeling you're about to find out, but I'll tell you the story at 5:50 too.
Thank you, sir. We appreciate it. In the meantime, let's get a contestant on the line for Profile This at 206-803-ROCK.
Are you dealing with a personal injury? Don't go it alone. Turn to the experienced team at Phillips Law Firm. Their attorneys have helped thousands of clients get the compensation they deserve. Call Phillips Law Firm now. Call 1-800-JUSTICE or visit justiceforyou.com.
Hey there, everybody. I'm Melvin Robert from the TV show Extra. Every day on our show, we talk to the biggest celebrities and the biggest newsmakers around. We get exclusive details about hookups and breakups, baby news, and the behind-the-scenes info from your favorite TV shows and movies. But we can only fit so much on our show. That's where Extra the Podcast comes in. Listen and follow Extra the Podcast and Odyssey Podcast on the Odyssey app or wherever you get your podcast.
Hey, it's Mike Hawk. Want more Men's Room content? Follow the Men's Room page of the Odyssey app and check out my live stream, A Moment with Mike Hawk and Nothing in Particular with Steve the Thrill Hill. Going live Thursdays and Fridays at 1 exclusively on the Men's Room page of the Odyssey app.
All right, if we made it to drinking time.
Somebody out there deserves to be recognized. And the Men's Room knows just who it is. So to you, we say, bottoms up, sailor. You're the toast of our shot of the day.
Great time it is, and as usual, we head to the drink desk and Steve Thrill Hill to find out who we're toasting.
Yes, indeed. And today we toast Gary of somewhere in the United Kingdom. That's all we know. His name is Gary, and he lives in the United Kingdom. No last name, no city of location, just Gary. This is what we know about Gary. Gary is a brand new father. He had a young child only a few weeks ago. Obviously, he's exhausted, but the phone rings off the hook, which if you have a kid, that should be expected. The parents want to check in, the grandparents want to check in, but when he picked up the phone, it was never there. His phone just kept ringing all the time, and no one asked about the baby. Instead, they were saying things like, hey, can I get some pork meatballs or fried noodles or prawn crackers? This went on for weeks. Gary could not figure out what was going on, figured someone had pranked him, but then he pieced it all together. A new Vietnamese restaurant had opened in his neighborhood recently, so they tried to drum up business by passing out flyers. The problem was there's a pretty bad typo, as in the phone number was misprinted, so instead of calling the Hanoi house, you reach Gary. You just had a kid a few weeks ago, and you ordered pork meatballs, fried noodles, and prawn crackers. Apparently, those are the most popular orders coming in. He finally tracked down this restaurant and said, guys, I think you put my number on the flyer. They realize it. They apologize. They have since taken care of. But yeah, this guy
But people still have those flyers and haven't ordered yet.
That's the
you
problem.
You don't order it right when you get the flyer. You put it in your door and you go, yeah, you know what? Let's try that Thai place tonight.
Right. That's his exact problem. So he's like, look, I know they fixed it. They apologized, but right. Everyone else who's waiting to try the place, they're going to call Gary, who just had a baby boy. So we pour this booze and we drink this booze because we think it's yummy.
Yummy.
So over the tongue and down the throat to party in our tummies. Down the hola bichola.
The Men's Room presents Profile This.
Stephen Thrill Hill, could you please tell everyone now Profile This is played?
I sure can, Miles. It's a simple game where we share with you a real-life news story, something that happened right here on planet Earth. Earth. And as you listen to the story, based on the stereotypes you believe to be true of people and the decisions that people make, we'll ask you what it is you think makes a story a story. Hello, Justin. Welcome to the Men's Room.
Hola, gentlemen.
Hola. All right, Gary, you understand how
Justin.
this here... Justin. All right, Jesus, I just toasted Gary. Gary. Sorry, bro. I got Gary on the brain. All right, Justin, you understand how this here game is played?
Hey, sure, get thrill, and pick whichever one made you laugh the most.
Let me take a quick. So it'll be between drugs or bite me or hit me. Or, I'm sorry, you know what? We're going to go interior decorating. And by laugh, I mean cringe. A 22-year-old man, he made the world wince after revealing that he had something lodged in his urethra Franklin, for 4 years. 4 years. Now, the man, who, believe it or not, has chosen to go unnamed, he visited a clinic where he disclosed that he'd inserted something into his member 4 years ago. And an x-ray revealed the foreign object was lodged lengthwise in the patient's urethra. So they say the cringe-inducing case was such an anomaly that the team of doctors actually documented it and wrote it up in urology case record reports, which I'm pretty sure we all have a subscription to. Anyway, his ailment sounded highly unusual, and doctors noted especially as he had not experienced fevers, chills, or any other urological symptoms generally associated with having something stuck in your urethra for 4 years. Now, according to the report, doctors were forced to squeeze the man's penis using the external pressure technique in order to remove the object from his said urethra Franklin. Afterward, they sent him home with the recommendation that he undergoes a psychiatric evaluation, which he refused. But the question is, what did this dude put up his dude's snorkel for 4 years? Was it a pencil? Was it a paintbrush? Was it tweezers, or was it a straw? So pencil, paintbrush, tweezers, or straw. One of those was in his urethra Franklin.
So I'm like immediately thinking between like straw and tweezers. I'm thinking more on tweezers because you said like squeeze technique.
I believe that's what it's called, the external pressure technique. Yes.
There we go. Yeah. So all I'm thinking is that like you like stuck the tip up and then it spread out on the inside when it come on back out. So I'm leaning tweezers.
All right, Justin goes tweezers. Ted?
The last one was just straw?
Straw, yeah.
Like his drinking.
Yes. As in yes. Not like the
like a bale of
not
hay.
like the scarecrow, right.
That's a tough one.
That's the idea.
Based on age...
22.
22, yeah,
22,
I get that. Based on age, I'll say pencil.
Pencil for Ted. Based on
a number two.
Yeah.
A number two.
Yes, a number two pencil.
Based on the fact that it was still functional and was not completely blocked, I'm going straw.
No, good call, man.
All right, let's find out what he stuck up there. Was it a pencil, a paintbrush, tweezers, or a straw? We'll find out next.
That was a tease.
99.9 KISW. We return to the men's room with Miles and Thrill.
Categories: interior decorating on profile. This, we got a 22-year-old man. He had something lodged in his urethra that he inserted 4 years ago. He actually made a medical journal because they're like, wow, we got to write about this. That's kind of amazing.
Write about this.
Object was successfully removed. Question is, was it a pencil, a paintbrush, tweezers, or a straw?
And Justin, that is the very question that we posed to you. Before you share your story that you want to share with us about the shot of the day, let us go through the answers first. D. Ted Smith, you went with the pencil, specifically at number 2.
Yes.
So close, it was in number 4 pencil. If you just said pencil. Miles, you, with a lot of the other textures, went with the straw, just based on the fact that it did not obstruct his ability to pee.
Yes.
What? And Justin, you inexplicably went with tweezers.
No way.
But you are correct.
Get out of here.
Wow.
Get the frick out of here.
All right, now, Justin, you said you have a...
Other than the paintbrush.
Now, Justin, you said you have a story that relates to the shot of the day?
Yeah, so my buddy, his house that he grew up in Ballard, was the same phone number as an old pie shop. So his dad would get calls constantly about people ordering for pies. So he would mess with them for hours.
Is this Louis? So did he just take it in stride, like, sure, we'll get those pies up for you?
Oh, yeah. Do all that, not fulfill orders, put them on hold for like half an hour.
All right.
It was really like, I don't know, like 10 calls a week just for pies.
No wonder they went out of business.
Yeah,
10 calls a week.
That's a good point, right?
My God. Now for all TV news all time for TV Time with Ted.
And now, because your pathetic life is confined to countless hours in front of a talking box, the Men's Room presents TV Time with Ted.
All right. So there's a lot of different reality shows out there. No. There is. And a lot of the reality shows are, well, a large basis of them are competitions.
Yeah, sure.
So even like The Bachelor or Bachelorette, like technically they're finding love,
but it is a competition.
It's a competition, right? You gotta win that and win that prize and this and that. I was watching something the other day and it was something random and they were like, we have more successful relationships. It was another reality show. There was just people being people, and it's like, we have more relationships than The Bachelor.
I can believe that. I can believe that, yeah.
Was it like Big Brother or something like that?
It was, it might have been Big Brother.
Coming back,
or like the real, might have been, maybe it was The Real World.
Ah, yeah.
Yeah.
Right. If you're just going to start hooking up, and that's not kind of the point of the show, I get the feeling you stick together longer. As opposed to, I want to have sex with all the bachelorettes. However, I have to pick one. That's going to suck.
Yeah, I mean, it is tougher, right? Like, I know a lot of people, you go to like singles events and you meet people, but I don't know that I've ever had somebody being like, all right, going to the singles event to meet my wife.
Right, exactly.
You know what I mean?
Because you'd be like, dude, don't. That's weird.
Yeah, it'd be kind of like meeting a girl and like, I don't know, like having drinks with her one night and then proposing.
That would be a bad idea. I did have a chick, we were kind of flirting with each other, everything seems good. I'm like 22. She's like, do you want to have kids in the future? And I'm just like, this is a red flag. Like, we have been talking for about 2 hours and everything's fine. Like, I have not thought about it.
I like to practice it.
Yeah. I don't mind like the methodology behind it, but no, I'm not trying to have kids with you anytime soon. And apparently that was a deal breaker. My bad.
Hey, get out when you can. All right, so some of the biggest reality TV jerks are going to go head to head on the House of Villains.
Oh, the House of Villains.
Which actually isn't a bad call because some people really suck. This will start in October on E. The contestants will try to out-manipulate each other to win $200,000. And the title of America's Ultimate Supervillain, Joe McHale will host.
Oh, no. Well, Joe McHale's great.
Joe McHale is awesome.
So he's a good guy to moderate that.
Yeah. And there's very few things he does that I don't like. A lot of these names you'll recognize. A lot of these names I recognize. Some of them you. I'm just like,
you're right.
I know you two haven't watched any of this stuff.
We'll just assume they're all nasty people.
Bobby Lights from Love and Hip Hop Atlanta. Mike, I'm with you. I only watched Love and Hip Hop New York.
Right.
Of course.
I actually, to be honest with you, I never watched any of it.
Guarantee you my sister knows who it is.
Yeah, and like, I Love and Hip, I just always forget that VH1 has so many reality shows too.
Mm-hmm.
Like the other day, I saw a commercial. It was like, remember when Jason Kelsey had a dating show? I was like, oh,
God,
I completely forgot about that. Isn't that how your wife got into him?
Anytime they do anything with Atlanta, my sister's in love with half the cast.
Why does she love Atlanta?
It's an actual show. She just thinks the guys on those shows are sexy.
Well, they don't look like Mac Miller.
No, they do not.
Shaki Chatterjee from Love is Blind. I don't know. If you watch Love is Blind, I'm sure you know who it is. Somebody from 90.
That's the one where you don't see the people.
Oh, yeah,
Correct.
that's right. Yeah.
Okay.
And every song is Stevie Wonder, Ray Charles.
Jeff Healey.
Ronnie Millsap.
Connie Olympius from The Bachelor. You recognize that name, Mike?
Connie, hang on.
I don't.
You'll recognize it, won't you?
Maybe.
So do you actually enjoy it? I know you got sucked into it because of the wife, but is it something you actually enjoy now?
We haven't done the Golden Bachelor. Honestly, we wait for Bachelor in Paradise. Because there's no one person that's like, you're all trying to marry this one man, one woman, whatever it is. They bring a lot of the quote unquote rejected people and they put them all out on there on the beach. They feed them full of alcohol and basically you need to be shacked up with somebody at the end of each week to then,
to move on.
This week the guys are giving out the roses to the girls that they like there on the beach. This week the girls are giving out the roses to the guys that they like. So and then every week when they're done, they introduce a couple more people out onto the beach. So that kind of stirs it up and they're all screwing each other and they're all drinking and whatnot. So that's kind of fun.
Screwing each other.
They are.
All right, you got Tanisha Thomas from Bad Girls Club. Remember, these are people trying to become the biggest reality TV jerks. Now, here are some names you'll definitely recognize. Johnny Bananas DiVincenzo from The Challenge.
Johnny Bananas?
Johnny Bananas. Seriously.
I remember his name, and I remember everyone was angry with him. I don't remember what he did or the show, but I do remember him.
Get the hell out of here.
And that was kind of his, whole thing, right? Because back then it was was still kind of early on, and he was the first person to just be a real jerk and scumbag about it.
Right. Just outwardly.
Correct. Johnny Fairplay from Survivor. Again,
I remember him.
You remember that name?
He was the same kind of dude, very intentionally manipulated people. Everyone got mad, and he's like, I'm trying to win $1 million.
Tiffany New York Pollard. So New York is what she went by on Flavor of Love. I believe she won the...
That's where you taste the person to determine if you like it.
Yeah. It's still wild that there was 2 seasons of a reality show to get Flavor Flav.
I know.
And to Brett, I know, well, you don't hate Brett Michaels. You hate that song. But to Brett Michaels' credit, on his show, what was it called? Bus of Love or Love Bus?
Yeah.
Love Bus, sure.
Rock of Love.
Rock of Love.
But his whole thing was, like, Flavor Flav was like, I'm trying to meet a girl and, like, get married in S. Like, he was just like, you get to be my rock and roll girlfriend. Right. Basically, like, you can hang out on the bus. I'm going to hook up with other girls. Like, all right, this is legit.
But you can give me a mouth hug without even asking.
Now, the last one...
I even have a bandana on my penis.
The last one, to me, is a little different because what they've done after they got off reality TV. Omarosa.
Oh.
Why not?
Yeah, I don't...
Nobody likes you. You might as well go, and the only reason no one likes you is because you were such a turbo bitch on whatever show you were on. But
she was on The Apprentice.
Oh, that's right, yeah. So,
but she worked for the Trump administration.
No, I remember that.
For a very brief period of time.
Sure.
Yeah, I don't know. I guess it's just different when you work for the president. I think that changes. Like, I don't look at her as just a reality TV star. Like, I mean, look, like Trump or not, I don't look at him as a reality TV star. He's an ex-president.
Well, but bottom line is this, I don't care what president it is. Most people don't seem to work for the president for very long.
No.
Like, the spokespeople and all that stuff, like they're there for a year and then they're gone.
Wouldn't you?
Yeah, I mean, you got your shot. Now you can get any job you want.
That's the thing.
Yeah, that's changed over the years. Your press secretary used to actually hang out.
Used to be the guy, yeah.
Right, and you know him and stuff. So, yeah, I mean, again, this show, it'll be on E, starts in October. So if you love to hate these people, this would be great. You could love to hate them all at the same damn time.
Someone here just says, Thrill, your penis bandanas, that should be your Etsy shop.
Oh, yeah.
I like the idea.
I just hope that there's, like, actual physical violence on this show. That guy Jax Taylor from Vanderpump Rules.
I left him out. He's on there too.
Yeah, he is, and I want him to get punched right between the eyes.
Is he a big dude?
Yeah, he's a thicker dude.
How is that show, by the way? That's all TMZ is anymore, and I don't know anything about it.
Miles, it gives me heart palpitations. I want to murder everybody that is on that show.
Really? And it's just about a restaurant?
Right. There's a string of restaurants that are owned by this gal by the name of Lisa Vanderpump.
I know her name, and I know she has restaurants, and they're very popular. And
they focus on this one particular restaurant called Sir's, S-U-R, Sir. It's a very fancy place, right? But all the wait staff and the bartenders and everybody that works at that place is absolutely insane. They are born and bred in L.A., and they are absolutely freaking nuts. And so they are all just toxic towards one another. Jax Taylor is probably one of the worst on the planet. He's a guy, he never takes responsibility for anything that he does.
Oh, is he the GM?
No.
In my restaurant experience, the only person who did not take responsibility.
It's a fancy restaurant in L.A., too, so they're all wannabe real actors.
Of course.
Right, so then they get on the show, they're going to act even crazier because they can.
Absolutely, and there's a guy on that show that it feels like he's waiting for like a talent scout to watch this show so that he can get on it, right? But Jack, so this latest episode here, just to make you angry, here's Jack's latest development. He cheats on his girlfriend of several years, right?
Oh, I know this.
Cheats on her. So she goes to him and she's like, I'm going to give you another chance. I like you a lot. I just want you to know I'm going to keep track of this. I'm going to make sure that you don't do this. I'm going to keep an eye on you. This is to keep me around. Like, I'm giving you another chance, but we're going to make some changes. He's like, okay, can we both make some changes in our relationship then? Like, this is not the time to bring that up, dude. So this is the stupid crap and drama that I get sucked into because my wife can't look away.
All right, I see. I like how emotional you are. That means the show's doing some work.
It is.
I will say, I have not cheated on a girl I'm dating.
Sure.
But I have definitely broken up with somebody, and then they were like, maybe we should get back together. They were like setting out rules. So I was like, well, as long as we're talking about rules, or like things that are going to change.
That timing is different. Look, that is much different timing. That is an opportunity to have the conversation. Not like, I caught you cheating. I found out you robbed a bank. I covered for you from the cops. And you're like, okay, you did that, but can you?
But you make me feel unseen and unwanted. You cheated on her.
I'm sorry. I can't. I realize that you might have made a mistake, but if you're going to dictate how to change me or anything like that, I'm sorry, I'm going to lay down. Well, you know what really drives me nuts about you Because if you're going to come
just get out of the relationship.
That's why I did. That's why I cheated on you. That's why I cheated on you. Now you're going to dictate to me what's wrong with me?
But see,
all right, I already
She
know
said,
what's wrong with me.
don't cheat on me. I don't think that's a big
I don't think that's
Well,
dictating.
if there's more, I mean, saying like, also, I don't want you doing this.
Well, no, that's all it was going to be. It was just like we need to cut down on this. We need to keep this until like she was setting out at least decent standards and boundaries when it comes to a relationship. And he's like, can we also talk about how we talk to each other? Like, you cheated on me.
Right, she's pissed.
Exactly.
Like, there might be a time to bring that up to her, but at that point, like, that's not it. Or, right, if you don't want to be with her, then I wouldn't even have that conversation.
I'm an expert relationship.
And he does all that crap. Like, he will screw up Royal, and he will screw people over, but it's just like, he justifies it because they said something mean to him one time, but he just...
His mother needed to slap him around a little more when he's growing up.
Yeah. I'm going to therapy. No, you are sitting in a therapy office,
right,
and talking about how great you are, and then you walk out.
Hey, listen, I say this all the time. But, we talked about it on the Maycast. You can put in all the time you want, but if you don't put in the work, it doesn't matter.
Right.
You could spend 3 hours to practice. If you don't practice any technique, put in the actual work. Anybody can put in the time. Like, all right, cool, you're sitting at work. I mean, like, right, but you got to do the job.
Mike, have you ever been to a therapist?
No.
Every time I go, I think the same thing when I walk out. Is it me or them that needs the therapy? I'm not sure. I know I do, but
it's probably me that needs the therapy.
I know that I do, but I think maybe they do.
Yeah. I mean, I think a lot of that stuff comes from all that stuff there. Let's see. I recommended watching that show on Vice last night about shock jocks, the 2000s.
Yeah. Dark Side?
Dark Side
of the 2000s.
Of the 2000s.
Okay.
And I recorded it.
Didn't watch it.
Well, that's good.
I did. You know what? Honestly, the podcast went a little late, and then the football urge got in me, and I was like, well, I got to watch Hard Knocks.
Yeah. Okay, understood.
Yeah, so I kind of missed them there.
Is it an hour long, I'm guessing?
It is.
Okay.
And in this one, that was the other thing I meant to bring up, is that it's 2 parts. I didn't realize they were going to air back to back. So that was the other thing, too. I was like, well, I'm not going to watch part 2 and then watch part 1 and get caught up. Like, by the time part 2 starts and they're pissed at each other, I want to know why they're pissed and what Howard did.
I need to watch that one, yeah.
I mean, look, I think a lot of people will find it super interesting, and then obviously anybody that works in the industry. But yeah, it's just how... I mean, look, we were working in radio kind of when that stuff peaked.
Yep,
and then
for sure.
Came crashing down.
Speaking of Hard Knocks, looks like we got one preseason game maybe tomorrow.
Yeah, I don't think there's any on tonight.
No.
All right, let's see. If you like boxing, I don't know if this is going to be any good. I'll watch it at home with the Furies. Tyson Fury has...
I read about it today. I didn't know it existed, but the reviews of it have actually been really good.
Probably just them eating.
And I like Tyson Fury.
I like Tyson Fury. And then if you like Gordon Ramsay, the first season finale of Gordon Ramsay's Food Stars is on Fox 9.
Thank you, Ted. We appreciate it. You're listening to The Men's Room.
A connected business community is a strong business community, and a strong business community is good for all of us. That's why Coastal Community Bank works to keep those connections strong. Like bringing local business owners together to share their information and experience, connecting you with local resources that might help your business, and lots more. Find out all the ways Coastal can help you at coastalbank.com. Member FDIC, Equal Housing Lender.
The Men's Room returns with Miles and Thrill. Now, let's see what's happening in the real world.
All right, here we go. Utah mom gets called to jury duty, which then turns into a daycare center. Meanwhile, the woman hasn't had her period in 10 years as her bajingo, her boyfriend, likes to enter. Check out. California confiscates 2,000 bottles of wine that were aged at sea. Florida woman who murdered her boyfriend uses Mountain Dew to try to be free. And a doodad picks up a job at a restaurant, unbeknownst to him. It is time for your headlines.
Now, it's time to hit the headlines. Here's my car.
All right, our top story, we go to the UK where a new father just couldn't get a moment's peace. We covered him for the shot of the day. On top of being the father of a 5-month-old child, the man has been dumbfounded by his phone ringing at all hours of the day. After a while, he was able to determine that all of the calls coming in were wrong number calls, all looking to order some delicious Vietnamese cuisine. Didn't take long to figure out just which eatery they were all looking for and looked them up to confirm his suspicions that they had posted his number as their own by mistake.
What did you say the primary things people were? I don't know if I've ever eaten at a Vietnamese restaurant.
It was pork meatballs. Oh man, it was like
spring rolls. Well, pho bok. They were Vietnamese, but I don't ever think I got anything more than a banh mi.
And I think pho is like the biggest Vietnamese thing that at least as far as fads are right now. Everybody's all about the pho, and I know that's a Vietnamese thing.
It is. So. People love it. But you're right. When I think Vietnamese restaurant, you think banh mi.
Correct.
Pho.
Exactly.
But pork meatballs or spring rolls, I feel like spring rolls kind of pop up. Mm-hmm. Like there's some version of it, right?
Sure.
Like, you know what I mean?
Yeah. I hate spring rolls.
Right, but there's spring rolls, there's lumpia, I feel like in different parts of Asia. Actually, I feel like almost every country has some form of that, right?
Sure.
Basically, yeah.
Yeah, right? Like, we were talking about, like, cabbage, stuffed cabbage or whatever.
Yeah.
Kind of like something like that. Spring roll.
That's right. Yeah, deconstructed spring roll.
And some type of wrapper or something wrapped with S stuffed in it.
Easy, buddy.
Sorry.
With S stuffed in it.
Yeah.
Put that on your menu.
You come over to this side of the water, it's the chimichanga.
You should write menus.
We suffer full of
I don't know what this S is, but I'm going to buy this.
That would be great. Ted runs Slither and he writes all the descriptions. Oh man, this has got all kinds of
just keep it. Get this. Try everything on the menu. Honestly, don't get the salad here, man. There's too much other good stuff.
They call this plate the Annihilator.
We
just
have
get
the
it.
salad, but don't get it. There's too much other good stuff.
This one's called It Hurts Later. Right. Don't ask questions.
It hurts later.
We have water. You need a beer.
Oh no.
Oh, and of course I was wrong. Egg rolls aren't authentic Chinese.
Nah, man.
I was like, the Chinese have egg rolls. I looked it up. It's like, they were made in America.
Jam, Ted. Yeah, the land of the deep fried.
That's true.
In other news, another new parent down in Utah says she did all that she could with the resources that she had, although I'm calling bull. She was summoned to jury duty but told the media that she just couldn't find a babysitter for her triplets in time. Her triplets, by the way, leading her to have to take them to court with her. She took video of the day revealing that she knew that it would be a, quote, crap show, which it was. She claims she fed them more snacks that day than she ever had before to try to quell them, but they still screamed and fussed all throughout the day until she was finally dismissed about 2.5 hours
I was going to say that should be an immediate dismissal. I mean, let's be honest. You have a young mom at home with triplets.
Sure.
And they're small toddlers. If that's not a good enough excuse I will do it later. Just let me get through these couple of years, right?
And put me on a rain check.
Seriously, I'm not willing to do my duty.
But also, I don't trust her as far as I can throw her with I just couldn't find a babysitter. Look, I have gotten a jury duty summons before. They don't send it like, we need you tomorrow. They send that a little ways in advance. Mm-hmm. And two, we've all heard the tricks of how to get out of jury duty.
Well, good on her. If you want to get out of it, that's your best one.
Like I tell you what, if you ever have kids, find a babysitter. Triple pay her. Triple pay him.
Oh, goodness.
Because you're not going to find another. I'm telling you, it's a scarce world out there. In the world of babysitting.
Okay. I'll stand corrected. We go to Florida, of all places, for an interesting investigation. Police were flagged down by a citizen to report a house fire. Crews arrived quickly and put out the blaze, finding a dead body inside with blunt force trauma to the head and multiple stab wounds. They began searching for the man's roommate as a possible suspect and found her in a nearby restaurant with blood on her leg and wielding a knife and hammer. She changed her story multiple times, denied ownership of the knife, hammer, and even being the man's roommate, saying that she was homeless. When she was being taken into custody and told that they would be running a DNA test, she did request a drink, to which she was given a Diet Mountain Dew that she proceeded to pour over herself in an attempt to tamper with the DNA on her body. She now faces multiple charges. To be honest with you, the problem was that she went with the Diet Mountain Dew. This the aspartame. It's not going to do it. You need.
I've never heard that one.
You need that sugar.
DNA says you're from West Virginia.
That's it for your headlines with that. Mike Hogg is out.
Thank you, sir. We appreciate it. We'll see you tomorrow for the return of Big Dummy and the Head Chef is back with Ted's Meat and Potatoes. Terrence up next.
Yes, indeed. It's all true. But in the meantime, well, we'll be all about this bitch for 180 seconds or so. So until then, please do what you do best. And for Aletha's sake, stay beautiful.
The Men's Room has been taped before a live studio audience. Wardrobe and makeup provided by Mantastic Limited. This has been a presentation of the Men's Room Radio Network.
Oh, man!
A Double Flush production.